Chapter 925. Void Fire. The mountain range was on fire. It was burning. The fire looked both real and fake at the same time. Fake fire, people frowned. That fire wasn't real. But the red color of the fire meant that it was fire energy of the highest level. Void Fire. Tianlin and the other Imperial Cultivation disciples were astonished. There was void fire in that small world. They had to obtain it. Let's go. Some people rose up in the air and then dove into the fire mountain range. King Dragon, Mieching, Duanmu and the others dove into the void fire. Everybody, don't forget about our agreement, said Tianlin indifferently. Many strong cultivators frowned. They had heard about that small world because the Imperial Cultivation disciples had told them about it. That's why they had decided on the Ahsoka Mountain for the location of the Great Sect meeting. The Imperial Cultivation disciples had set a few conditions to help those strong cultivators. First, they had to give the Imperial Cultivation disciples good items, and in return they had to help destroy Tianqi. Don't worry. I remember our agreement, said King Dragon, smiling, but his heart was pounding. Void fire. Besides, such a strong fire was more useful for Zun cultivators. With such a fire, they would become even more powerful. Even for them, it was difficult to find such a precious thing. Not that it was in front of them, the people from Ganyu had to enjoy it too. You better remember, you must help us obtain that fire. If you violate our agreement, our fellow disciples and our teachers will come here and destroy all your sects and territories, said Tianlin. The strong cultivators from Ganyu looked annoyed. He was threatening them. However, considering Tianlin's social status, they remained silent. They had to show respect. An emperor was at the head of many sections. They had a myriad of Tian level and Zun level cultivators. They also had a few incredibly strong Zun cultivators. Even if they didn't necessarily receive direct teachings from the emperor, he would still help them when in need. A Zun cultivator and a group of Imperial Cultivation disciples could probably destroy Ganyu. Don't worry. We can't obtain that fire anyway, so you can have it, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect in a nice way. They couldn't offend the godly Xiaoyao sect. All right, now help us and lead the way, said Tianlin indifferently. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect and the others turned around and led the way. They made pieces of mountain explode on the way to create a path. Zun cultivators could easily destroy mountains. Boom, 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 boom. Explosions sounded as the mountain range was breaking apart. The fire was getting hotter. Those Imperial Cultivation disciples came here because of the fire in Ahsoka Mountain, said someone suddenly. Those Imperial Cultivation disciples had an agreement with the leaders of the influential sections. Those people wanted to steal their region's treasures. However, could Imperial Cultivation disciples who were only at the Tian level cultivators use the void fire? Fire kept burning. Suddenly, a road appeared from within. It led to a mountain where the void fire was housed. Thank you, leaders, said the Imperial Cultivation disciples. Then they walked towards the mountain and groaned coldly. We have an agreement, so don't get any closer. Instead, you should help us prevent other people from getting any closer. The leaders remained silent and blocked the way. Brother Hua doesn't need that fire. I hope you can gift it to me, said Tianlin to the Huasher brother. Void fire is a kind of fake fire, of course I need it. Ask them if they can give you their part of the fire, said the Huasher brother while shaking his head. Tianlin didn't think it would hurt to try. He knew that that guy wouldn't give up. And there was the insane guy. If he obtained some of that fire, he might kill Tianlin. So Tianlin had to be careful and not offend him for the time being. There was also the young man with the ice and fire energies. He would never give up that fire. I need to obtain that fire for myself, thought Tianlin. Let's use spells, said the young man with ice and fire energies. He walked towards the void fire. If he acquired void fire, he would become so much stronger. However, the others wouldn't give him everything. Come back, said someone furiously. Suddenly, the Huasher brother attacked and in a flash, the young man with the ice and fire energies couldn't move. Piss off, he shouted furiously. He released ice energy and everything froze. At the same time, Tianlin's silhouette flickered as he ran towards the void fire. Where are you going? Dazzling golden light spread in the air towards Tianlin. He immediately released his spirit. They were all fighting. They all wanted the void fire for themselves. In the distance, the crowd gathered and watched the 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples. They couldn't get any closer because the three leaders had an agreement to prevent anyone from nearing. Some people really wanted to get the fire too. They were waiting patiently to see if they could get a chance to get close. They had to try, at least. Many people started breaking pieces of the mountain to create a path. The four Imperial cultivation disciples were still arguing while moving forwards. Without realizing it, they arrived at the fire but couldn't stop fighting. Fake fire. Someone used pure chi to grab the void fire. However, when trying to grab the void fire, they sensed a terrible pain through their body. They couldn't get too close to it. "Piss off, all of you. You can't take that fire because you're too weak," shouted Tianlin coldly. However, amongst the flames it started snowing. The snowflakes melted only as they arrived in the flames. How could it be snowing in the middle of those flames? They gazed into the distance and saw a silhouette surrounded by snowflakes. They looked surreal. The young man walking on the snowy path just glanced at them and continued on. The crowd was even more astonished. They couldn't sense any chi, but they could see him. That young man had long black hair. His pupils looked ice cold and he was surrounded by demonic chi. A demon. Chapter 926. Demoniac power. Snowflakes were floating in the wind. Suddenly, the demoniac young man disappeared from where he was. The crowd frowned. Then he appeared again, but this time, he was at the end of the path where the void fire was. "Where are you going?" shouted Tianlin furiously. He used his Xiaoyao agility technique and moved with incredible speed. In a flash, he appeared in front of the demoniac young man. The others didn't prevent him from going there this time. They had to prevent other people from stealing their treasure. "You really want to die?" shouted Tianlin furiously. A whirlwind appeared in front of him and moved towards the demoniac young man. Demoniac energies rolled in the air as pure demon energy was flowing from the young man. Even though he had only broken through to the first Tian Qi layer, his demon energies were incredible and terrifying. Explosions sounded as the demon energies met the wind. "Gigantic demon hand!" shouted the demoniac young man. A demon hand appeared and assaulted Tianlin. Boom! The gigantic hand collided with the wind. The wind was strong, even people who were standing far away could sense that strong wind. The demoniac young man remained motionless. He was 2 levels weaker than his opponent, yet his opponent suffered even more from the attack. Where did that demoniac young man come from? The demoniac young man turned around and looked at the void fire. His eyes twinkled. The crowd suddenly saw an incredible amount of fire move towards the void fire. Surprisingly, someone was stealing the void fire. "Die!" Tianlin smiled coldly. The other Imperial cultivation disciples also smiled coldly. Someone was actually trying to steal their void fire. He was surely begging for death. Slash slash. The fire mountain broke apart and some fire penetrated into the mountain and surrounded the void fire. "Humph! He is about to bring about his own destruction," said the crowd mockingly. They didn't know what his fire was, but in any case he wanted to die. However, the cultivator's fire kept absorbing the void fire. The fire strength became weaker and weaker. Even the mountain, which was initially colorful, was turning colorless. "What's going on?" the crowd frowned. That cultivator's fire was actually absorbing the void fire? "How audacious, stealing the void fire!" shouted Prince Tianlin furiously. He released his wind spirit and attacked the young man. Slashing sounds spread in the air. The young man's silhouette flickered away. Xiaoyao agility technique. Tianlin's pupils became extremely wide. But then a terrifying demon strength rolled in the air. Demonic fire energy. Xiaoyao agility technique. How come that young man could use the Xiaoyao agility technique? "Destroy!" shouted the demonic young man furiously. A gigantic hand appeared in the sky and headed for Prince Tianlin. Boom ka! A terrifying chi rolled in the air. The gigantic hand punched Prince Tianlin and propelled him backwards. His wind spirit flickered and moved towards the demoniac young man. "Die, die, die!" shouted Tianlin. His voice echoed far away and pierced through people's eardrums. Rumbling sounds spread through the air. Tianlin was propelled backwards again. This time his face was deathly pale. But he was fixedly staring at the demoniac young man. "Die!" shouted Tianlin. His wind spirit rose up in the air as his hurricane turned into a tornado. The demoniac young man raised his head and he shouted, "The path of cultivation is merciless. Demons are all-conquering. Die." Roar. The demoniac young man released an infinite amount of energy. Tianlin's wind spirit was already applying a lot of pressure. But when the demoniac energies invaded the whole atmosphere, the wind energies were completely oppressed. Your wind spirit is strong, but I can easily destroy it. Kaboom boom boom. The infinite amount of demoniac energy turned into a gigantic hand. The wind spirit was emitting whistling sounds, but it was becoming weaker. Die! The terrifying gigantic hand grabbed Prince Tianlin. The gigantic hand was filled with demoniac energies. Prince Tianlin stretched out his hand, trying to protect himself. Boom! The gigantic demoniac hand turned black. They collided and blood splashed everywhere. His wind spirit was suddenly weak. The crowd was astonished. Who was that demoniac young man? He was so strong and had only broken through to the first Tianqi layer, but he could already defeat Imperial Cultivation disciples. His fire was swallowing the void fire during the entire exchange. The lights emitted by the mountain were progressively fading. The crowd realized that there wasn't much void fire left. Oh no, the proud and aggressive young man's facial expression changed drastically. He started running towards the void fire. The demoniac young man turned around and said coldly, "Stop." The aggressive young man glanced at him and released his dazzling pattern spirit. Die! The pattern spirit emitted sharp lights. The demoniac young man's facial expression looked even colder, as he released even more demonic energies. The Huasher brother started helping the aggressive young man and released terrifying energies too. They had to defeat this demonic young man. They couldn't let anyone steal the void fire from them. Slash slash, the demoniac young man looked at those attacks and stood without fear. His chi rose up in the air. Great celestial demoniac skill. Die! The demoniac young man shouted furiously. A gigantic hand appeared. It was even larger than the hand used against Lin Tian 3 Lives Demon. Great celestial demoniac skill. Shake the earth and sky. Chapter 927. Ancient Demon Destruction. The demoniac young man was Lin Feng, of course. Back then, he had practiced the 3 Lives Demon Emperor's skill. He hadn't used it until now, but he could use it to steal the fire from the Imperial Cultivation disciples, so now was better than ever. His demon energies rolled in the air. Back then, the 3 Lives Demon Emperor had taken control of Lin Feng's body and taught him the skill. The 3 Lives Demon Emperor had cultivated in the Death Valley for a very long time. Of course, when Lin Feng used the 3 Lives Demon Emperor's skill, it wasn't as powerful as when the Emperor used it, but it was still extremely powerful. An infinite amount of demonic energies enveloped the Imperial Cultivation disciples. Their souls were shaking. Were they going to die? Everybody hurry up, we need to kill him. Tianlin almost looked drunk. He punched himself to instantly regain his consciousness. He released terrifying wind energies that shook the earth and sky. Dazzling lights appeared and surrounded Lin Feng. Boom 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 boom. Thousands of demonic beasts roared from the earth and sky. It was difficult to imagine that a cultivator of the first Tianqi layer had the advantage against Imperial Cultivation disciples of the 3rd and 4th Tianqi layer. The Imperial Cultivation disciples had easily defeated those challengers. However, that demoniac young man was even stronger than them. Even 1 against 4 wasn't enough. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples were staring at the young man's energies. Where did that demoniac young man come from? How come he was so strong? Insane demoniac attack. Roar! Shouted the demoniac young man. His voice was loud, it was deep and scary and made them shiver. An illusion appeared which resembled a demonic shadow. He spun his hand thrice, and suddenly the demon shadow wanted to kill them. Die 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 die. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples were all using their full strength. His chi was that terrifying. Boom 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 boom. Roar! The earth and sky were unceasingly shaking. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples were finally propelled backwards. They managed to stop the attack, but their arms were almost paralyzed. In such a crappy region as Ganyu, there was this miraculous young cultivator. They looked at the mountain and the void fire which was constantly being absorbed. The young man was going to steal everything from them. Let's kill him together, said Prince Tianlin again. The The four others nodded. They had to join hands to kill Lin Feng. How could a cultivator of the first Tianqi layer be so strong? Spirit! Shouted Prince Tianlin. He released his wind spirit once again. Spirit! Shouted the young man with the dazzling pattern spirit. Golden lights illuminated the entire space. Spirit! Shouted the Huasher brother. Spirit! Said the young man with the ice and fire spirit. The four imperial cultivation disciples released their spirits and surrounded Lin Feng. No wonder they are imperial cultivation disciples. Their spirits are so scary, thought the crowd. Could the young man resist them with his strength of the first Tianqi layer? Die! 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 Deadly energies were rolling in the atmosphere. The wind spirit turned into a tornado. The pattern spirit turned became oppressive. The ice and fire spirit directly surrounded Lin Feng. So much so that he could barely move. Lin Feng glanced at them and raised his hands in the air. He drew some marks in the air which seemed to contain demon energy. Ancient demon destruction, destroy! Shouted Lin Feng as he finished drawing marks in the air. His energy turned into a destructive demonic power. Gotcha! The ancient demon destruction attack emitted insane sounds. Lin Feng rose up in the air as his destruction demon power dashed to the skies. The wind spirit collided with the demonic energy, but it couldn't block it. The golden lights also collided, but it still wasn't enough. The Huasher brother couldn't make a dent either. The young man with the ice and fire spirit was just as helpless. What kind of strength is that? Shouted Prince Tianlin furiously. They had inherited from their parents' spirits, Zun cultivators, so their blood was extremely strong. However, the four imperial cultivation disciples couldn't resist a single cultivator of the first Tianqi layer. The three other imperial cultivation disciples were astonished. What kind of power did Lin Feng have? Could it be that he knew emperor-level spells? Inside the crowd, a demon shadow rose up in the air. He was fixated on Lin Feng's battle. Murder filled his eyes. It was the patriarch of the Necropolis sect. When he sensed Lin Feng's demon power, he was surprised. Not only was it strong, it was very pure. Lin Feng's facial expression looked ice-cold. Die, said Lin Feng. He attacked the imperial cultivation disciples again, and their spirits were propelled backwards again. How scary! Even with powerful spirits, they can't defeat him, thought the crowd. It's too bad that his ancient demon destruction spell wasn't stronger. Otherwise he would have killed his opponents with it. If his cultivation level was higher, he would have ended the battle by now. In the mountain, the void fire was extremely weak, so much so that it had almost disappeared. The four imperial cultivation disciples couldn't do anything anymore. Even though they were imperial cultivation disciples, they had come for that void fire and they wouldn't get it at this rate. Patriarch, help us! Shouted Prince Tianlin. The strongest cultivators had to intervene, it seemed. Many people looked at the void fire. The patriarch of the Necropolis sect was still staring at Lin Feng. To him, Lin Feng was much more interesting than the void fire. Chapter 928. Strong words. Lin Feng frowned when he saw how all those people wanted to attack him. Suddenly many snowflakes appeared in the air as that demonic cultivator released a bestial qi. How cold! Many people started to feel very cold, especially at their feet. It was as if they were going to freeze on the spot. Hurry up, shouted Lin Feng. He was obviously talking to Chongqi. The fire was being absorbed by Chongqi, who was hiding inside the animal tower. Lin Feng didn't want Chongqi to show himself, otherwise, the enemies would know that he was the sick-looking young man with the yellow face. Chongqi knew he had to hurry up. At that moment, he was using his full strength to absorb the void fire. Apart from Chongqi, who was a Xian-level beast, nobody else could absorb that fire. For example, if Lin Feng had gone into it, even with his strength of the Tianqi layer, he would have burned and died. However, the four imperial cultivation disciples knew about that fire, so they had probably brought something to contain it. Otherwise, if Lin Feng and Chongqi hadn't shown up, how else would they have taken it? The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect groaned coldly. He used his Xiaoyao agility technique. He was wondering how Lin Feng could steal that fire. They weren't in a hurry with their strength. They could wait until the last minute to steal the void fire. They could also easily kill Lin Feng. Kacha kacha, terrifyingly cold energy spread in the air. A wall of ice appeared in front of the patriarch from the Xiaoyao sect. He frowned. Who? That ice energy was incredibly powerful. There must be an incredible snow cultivator around. The other strong cultivators hurried over, but the ice was rising and it seemed to be swallowing them. Break, they all shouted. They were punching the energy, forcing some cracks to appear in the ice. Boom, boom, boom. The strong cultivators joined hands and broke the ice bits by bits. They then hurriedly started running towards Lin Feng again. The earth and sky were freezing as a voice suddenly sounded. Freeze! The strong cultivators' feet were stuck in some ice and they started to freeze slowly as the ice climbed up their legs. Boom, boom, boom. Even more ice appeared in front of them. This time it was an iceberg obstructing their way. Bastard! Boom, boom, Kacha. The strong cultivators were furious. They broke the ice again and continued running forward. Who was helping that demonic young man? Could it be that they were from abroad like the Imperial Cultivation disciples? Otherwise, how could that young man of the first Tianqi layer be so strong? Surprisingly, he was stronger than all 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples together. At the same time, the 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples who were near Lin Feng frowned. Who was helping Lin Feng? They were all staring at Lin Feng. Could it be that the young man was like them? From abroad? Otherwise, how could he have such powerful demon skills? And who was the extremely strong cultivator who was helping him absorb the void fire? They looked at the void fire and watched as it was dimming. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples were furious. They tried to control Lin Feng with their spirits but failed. Die, die, die. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples continued attacking together as energies rolled everywhere. The sky seemed like it would collapse. Kacha! A sound spread in the air. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples were again disheartened. Piss off! The young man with demon skills shouted furiously. Lin Feng's demon destruction skill pushed their spirits away again. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples looked enraged. They started running towards Lin Feng themselves. Do you think you have a chance? Said Lin Feng coldly. It started snowing even more as those strong cultivators rushed Lin Feng. However, they found that the distance between them and Lin Feng was lengthening. Space strength. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples were astonished. Lin Feng turned around and walked towards the mountain. At the same time, the void fire completely disappeared. Capture him! Shouted Prince Tianlin furiously. The strong cultivators started punching Lin Feng's illusion to break it. Cracking sounds were heard as Lin Feng's illusion eventually broke, and they continued to chase him. However, Lin Feng suddenly turned around and stared at them coldly. He released an ice-cold bestial qi. You guys are scared of those crappy cultivators, the Imperial Cultivation disciples, but you're not scared of me? Lin Feng said indifferently. At that moment, Lin Feng's black robe fluttered violently in the wind. His bestial qi was growing stronger and stronger. Even though he had only broken through to the first Tianqi layer, he was using demonic and bestial energies. He was stronger than the 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples. He was so strong that he had even stolen the void fire. Prince Tianlin and the others were Imperial Cultivation disciples. Could it be that the demonic cultivator of the first Tianqi layer had no social status? Lin Feng stopped them in their tracks. He made them second-guess themselves. Don't listen to him, just kill him and get the void fire, said Prince Tianlin coldly. Shut the hell up, shouted Lin Feng furiously. He stared at Prince Tianlin and said, a piece of trash like you should respect me. You're a disgrace for Imperial Cultivation disciples. You're probably one of the weakest Imperial Cultivation disciples in the world. The only people who respect you is crappy Ganyu. Prince Tianlin remained silent for a few seconds and pulled a long face. He couldn't contradict Lin Feng. He had broken through to the 3rd Tianqi layer and couldn't defeat Lin Feng. Even the other Imperial Cultivation disciples couldn't. Lin Feng said that they were trash, so they couldn't contradict him either. If Tianlin knew that both were the same person, what would he think? People were astonished. Prince Tianlin and the others were real geniuses, but could it be that they were weaker Imperial Cultivation disciples? Imperial Cultivation disciples were extremely strong, so the crowd believed in what Lin Feng said because of his strength. Since Prince Tianlin and the others could be Imperial Cultivation disciples, Lin Feng could too. Void fire. At that moment, Prince Tianlin and the others were astonished to find the fire was completely dried up. Patriarch, if you don't attack, don't blame me for being impolite, said Prince Tianlin, threatening the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Even though Prince Tianlin was a member of the godly Xiaoyao sect, how could he treat the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect in such an impolite way? However, he couldn't argue Tianlin. He released terrifying energies which surrounded Lin Feng. If you dare attack me, I guarantee you that we'll die. Lin Feng said this with a devilish smile. He slowly turned around and jumped into the fire. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect hesitated because the fire seemed terrifying. Attack! Shouted Prince Tianlin like a madman. Boom! The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect finally decided to attack. The mountain broke apart. The fire disappeared and turned into a light. Like a meteor, it moved towards another direction. Even the Zun cultivators couldn't keep up with that light. Chapter 929. Chongqi levels up. Is he gone? The crowd was astonished by how fast the demonic young man disappeared. Boom boom boom. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect punched the mountain once again and it broke apart, but there was nobody there. He was astonished. Where was the young man? The void fire disappeared and now the young man had disappeared. They thought that with their strength, they would have easily chased him. While they were hesitating, the young man had seized that opportunity to escape. Chase him! Shouted the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect as if he had regained consciousness. However, it was too late. They had no idea where he was now. Prince Tianlin and the others pulled a long face. The young man had fought alone against the 4 imperial cultivation disciples. He was weaker than them and won. If the demonic young man was a real genius, what were they? Very quickly, the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect came back. Prince Tianlin, the patriarch and the others were insanely furious. All right. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect pulled a long face. What a humiliation. The young man had said a few words and had left. Who are you? Shouted the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect furiously gazing into the distance. Who was that guy? Nobody replied. The atmosphere turned silent again. Does anyone have a suggestion? Said Prince Tianlin turning to the crowd. He seemed angry at the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. They're probably people from Tianqi. There are powerful cultivators Tianqi, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Indeed. It can only be Tianqi, said Miaqing. He hated Tianqi so much, he would say anything to hurt them. Tianqi, said Prince Tianlin coldly glancing at them. He then asked, is Tianqi a strong group in Ganyu? Extremely strong, otherwise we wouldn't have organized the great sect meeting. Shengong was extremely strong in Ganyu, but Tianqi annihilated them completely, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. All right, I will ask my fellow disciples to come to Ganyu so that we can destroy Tianqi, said Prince Tianlin. He wanted to gain back his reputation. He also wanted to see if it was possible to find the void fire. The crowd was shaking. He was going to ask his fellow disciples to come back in 7 days? Prince Tianlin was an imperial cultivation disciple, so his fellow disciples had to be imperial cultivation disciples too. In 7 days from now in this same place, the great sect meeting is going to happen again, said Prince Tianlin rolling up his sleeves. Then he disappeared. The other imperial cultivation disciples' eyes were twinkling. They were all thinking the same thing. Then they all left too. Everybody should stay in Asoka Mountain. In 7 days we'll gather again. The great sect meeting will happen again, and this time with all the imperial cultivation disciples. We will definitely destroy Tianqi, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. He was smiling inside. Perfect. The imperial cultivation disciples were probably members of the godly Xiaoyao sect. If he participated, the Xiaoyao sect would gain back its reputation. The Zun cultivators pulled a long face, those Tianqi bastards. With the help of the imperial cultivation disciples, they would definitely annihilate Tianqi. Did you get the void fire? Asked the Snow Zun cultivator to Lin Feng using telepathy. Lin Feng had turned into a demon. Although surprising, it made the old man smile. He didn't know his disciple was so strong. He had just hidden his powers from Tianlin not to cause a bigger upset. The crowd didn't know that after the young man left, the sick-looking young man with a yellow face had come back. If the great sect meeting had continued, He would have loved to continue killing challengers, but now he knew that the Great Sect meeting wouldn't start again for 7 more days. He would have to make his way back to Ahsoka Mountain. The mountain range of the small world had already turned into a real mountain range. Many fire cultivators had taken advantage of it to practice cultivation inside. Lin Feng found a cave for himself and sealed it with qi. At the same time, Qiong-Qi was motionless on the ground. Fire was shining all around him and Lin Feng was sweating. A mere Xian-level beast and he was able to swallow a Zun cultivator's void fire. Maybe I could benefit from it, thought Lin Feng. He had helped Qiong-Qi big time. Lin Feng sat cross-legged and practiced cultivation too. The crowd couldn't imagine that the one who stole the void fire was inside the mountain range, practicing cultivation. Qiong-Qi's fire was becoming weaker, as if he was swallowing it. His qi, however, was becoming stronger and stronger. He didn't practice cultivation like Lin Feng. He possessed an animal body, but his soul was the soul of an emperor. Therefore, in terms of cultivation level, he could also break through to different cultivation layers. 3 days later in that cave, a scorching hot fire woke Lin Feng up. It was almost as strong as the qi of a Tian-level beast. Is he going to become a Tian-level beast? Thought Lin Feng. What speed was that? Lin Feng was happy and annoyed at the same time. He had to practice cultivation very diligently to become that strong. Each layer seemed like another world. For Qiong-Qi it was all a blur. He just had to swallow void fire and could break through several cultivation layers. But Qiong-Qi used to be an emperor, so Lin Feng also thought that it was normal that Qiong-Qi could use it. Void fire was useful for Zun cultivators, so if Qiong-Qi used it to become stronger, then only getting to the Tian-Qi layer was less surprising. He's going to break through to the Tian-Qi layer, Lin Feng realized while watching. Lin Feng moved back to give space to Qiong-Qi. Qiong-Qi's body seemed more distinct than usual. Bestial qi and fire qi were rolling in waves inside that cave. His body was growing, which was normal for wild beasts when they became stronger. Boom! Lin Feng could barely breathe. Luckily, he had closed the cave so strong cultivators wouldn't sense that qi. Lin Feng made pure qi flow around his body to protect himself. He could breathe a little bit better after that. Boom! More flames appeared. Boom boom boom. Qi invaded the cave as 9 flames appeared around Qiong-Qi. Chapter 930. Godly Awareness Palace. The fire was creating some cracks inside the cave. Lin Feng was speechless as he looked at the fire. Roar! Qiong-Qi roared and his 9 flames turned into one. An illusion appeared. His qi was very weak, but it looked majestic. That's Yendi? Lin Feng was astonished. He watched the illusion in the flames as it slowly merged with Qiong-Qi's body. Rumbling sounds were heard in that cave as magnificent red lights then appeared. They all moved into Qiong-Qi's body. Qiong-Qi opened his gigantic eyes. He was all red now and his qi had become much stronger. Practice your fire skills. There's still some void fire left. Qiong-Qi instructed Lin Feng. His voice had become deeper now. Lin Feng immediately sat down cross-legged and started practicing his Cosmos Burning Sun technique. A terrifying fire appeared all around him. Qiong-Qi opened his mouth and spat out some fire. That fire was dark red and looked fake. As the fire landed on Lin Feng, he suddenly felt like he was burning alive. You're practicing a sun skill, so I can help you control the fire energy so that you can slowly absorb it. Start channeling some pure qi, advised Qiong-Qi. He was weakening the void fire a bit so Lin Feng wouldn't die from it. Lin Feng channeled some fire pure qi around him. He slowly swallowed the void fire and turned it into his own pure qi. Slowly, the dark red fire fused together with Lin Feng's pure qi, and his qi became even stronger. Qiong-Qi continued to manipulate the fire to protect Lin Feng, all the while observing him as he became stronger. Finally, after a long time, a strong fire dashed to the skies. Lin Feng's pure fire qi had hit a new level. It now contained void fire qi and appeared dark red. Boom! Fire qi dashed to the skies. It even pierced through the seal obstructing the cave. Lin Feng opened his eyes. I broke through to the next Tian-Qi layer. Lin Feng was astonished. His Cosmos Burning Sun technique had become much more powerful as well. You broke through to the second Tian-Qi layer because your strength was sufficient enough for you to control that fire. Otherwise, things wouldn't have progressed that smooth, said Chongqi, and Lin Feng nodded. If he hadn't been strong enough, he wouldn't have been able to break through to the next Tianqi layer. He absorbed the fire and looked back at Chongqi, smiling. I wouldn't have thought that the void fire would help you break through to the Tianqi layer. Can you turn into a human being now? Of course, said Chongqi indifferently. In a flash, a young man with red hair appeared in front of Lin Feng. It wasn't the man from the illusion though, it was Chongqi's body. Incredible. It's no wonder you're an ancient beast, said Lin Feng with a resplendent smile. The young man had dark hair and a beautiful red robe. His chi was terrifying. He not only looked aggressive, he also looked extremely handsome, and even wild. Bullshit, I was much more handsome as an emperor, said the young man. He sounded old now and Lin Feng wasn't used to it. Even though Chongqi could turn into a handsome human being, the man of the illusion was infinitely more handsome and majestic. So it was normal that Yendi wasn't used to it. Yendi, what do you think about what we discussed before? Asked Lin Feng, smiling fatuously. About what? Said Chongqi, sounding skeptically. Each time Lin Feng called him Yendi, it meant that he wanted something from him. I helped you steal the fire and it was very dangerous, I almost died, so… Lin Feng was smiling fatuously. Chongqi's gigantic eyes became wider. I also helped you break through to the second Tianqi layer and you didn't lose anything. You broke through so many cultivation layers at once and even broke through to the Tianqi layer. I almost died for one cultivation layer. You're lucky you're an emperor, otherwise, I wouldn't have been so generous, said Lin Feng. Just tell me what you want, said Chongqi, annoyed. Alright, nodded Lin Feng. I want you to teach me something to control people. Body capture? Asked Chongqi. Nah, it wouldn't work. I want to control other people, not get a body for myself, replied Lin Feng. He didn't need the body capture technique. He didn't want to be in someone else's body. If you don't use body capture, you will only be able to control someone but not their strength, said Chongqi indifferently. Only the body capture technique allowed a cultivator to control someone entirely. What you mean is that if I don't use the body capture technique, I can only destroy people's godly awareness and then control their corporeal body? Asked Lin Feng. Indeed. Lin Feng was disappointed because the evil spirit had told him the same thing. Evil spirits could control people's bodies. Actually, there's maybe something that could help you do what you want, said Chongqi with some thought. But you can only use it if your soul is stronger than your opponent's. But for you, I think it's useless. Even I wouldn't learn it if I were you, said Chongqi proudly. Lin Feng understood. Lin Feng smiled and said, no need to talk in an enigmatic way. If you don't know it, then forget about it. Bullshit. Soul skills are dishonest methods. Only cowards use such skills, so I have never used it, shouted Chongqi furiously and proudly. Soul skills? Lin Feng looked at Chongqi and said, you don't need such skills, but I do. Please teach me. Chongqi looked at Lin Feng. That bastard, he was being absolutely despising. Soul skills weren't that difficult to learn as an emperor, but Chongqi never needed any of them. I know millions of skills and techniques, that's why I never needed a soul skill, said Chongqi proudly and arrogantly. Alright, I believe you. Then, teach me something powerful to attack people's godly awareness, said Lin Feng indifferently. Alright, I will teach you a skill to attack people's godly awareness. You will love it, said Chongqi furiously. Get ready. Alright, said Lin Feng, nodding. He closed his eyes and a light appeared between Chongqi's eyes. It moved straight into Lin Feng's head. Lin Feng suddenly saw some memories. You've never used a powerful godly awareness skill. Get ready to learn one that will knock your socks off, said Chongqi in a majestic way. Lin Feng smiled. Chongqi was funny sometimes. He had learnt only one skill from the 3 Lives Demon Emperor, which was already amazing, but Yendi thought it was too weak still. Godly Awareness Palace, whispered Lin Feng. That was the name of the skill. Chapter 931, Ba Huang, Zhou Yu. All of the Imperial Cultivation disciples were at the Great Sect meeting. The demonic young man had stolen their void fire and then left. It seemed Gan Yu would be going through difficult times again. Stronger cultivators were now headed to Ahsoka. This time Tianqi was definitely going to be annihilated. Rumor had it that Tianqi's people were hidden in the crowd to help someone steal the void fire. The imperial cultivation disciples would never let them off for this. There were many strong cultivators in Asoka Mountain now. Many people were practicing cultivation, especially fire cultivators. They had heard that a strong fire appeared there just a few days ago. Even though the void fire disappeared, a strong fire remained. Only one day was left before the second session of the Great Sect meeting. One person appeared from the mountain. His face was yellow and he looked sick. However, the beast walking beside him was extremely strong and its fire was scorching. "It's him. He's still here," said some people who recognized Lin Feng. The sick-looking young man had stood out at the first session of the Great Sect meeting. His teacher and him wanted to be the leaders. "That beast is actually an ancient beast. Do you know that young man?" The newcomers didn't know who Lin Feng was, so they were curious. "Of course I do. He was at the last Great Sect meeting, so everybody knows him now. Don't underestimate him because of his appearance. Even though he's only broken through to the first Tianqi layer, he can defeat cultivators of the third Tianqi layer. He humiliated the imperial cultivation disciples. His teacher, a Zun cultivator, is terrifyingly strong as well." Explained someone. "That's strong? Anyways, I just checked his cultivation level and he seems to be of the second Tianqi layer." "But you said first?" "What?" The person who had just talked looked at Lin Feng and frowned. He really broke through to the second Tianqi layer. In just 6 days he managed to become stronger. Now, it will be even easier for him to defeat the imperial cultivation disciples. His teacher and him will probably become the leaders of the meeting. I wonder if his teacher will come this time. Impossible. Prince Tianlin invited so many extremely powerful cultivators to help this time. Maybe. Many people had tried to guess what was going to happen after seeing Lin Feng during the previous meeting. Lin Feng remained calm. He was coming from the fire mountain and didn't mind if other people saw him. He had stolen the fire disguised as the demonic young man so nobody could recognize him. Apart from Lin Feng's teacher and Qiongqi, nobody knew about him. Lin Feng was really happy to have such a great teacher. He defended him against Tianshuzi back when and had made him a young leader in Tianxian. He even gave him a precious treasure from Tianxian, the Tianxian stone. Lin Feng was extremely grateful. "Brother Lin," someone said at that moment. Lin Feng turned around and saw the Huashi siblings. He smiled slightly. "Brother Hua. Brother Lin, you surprisingly stayed here," said the Huashi young man. He was surprised because Lin Feng had offended Prince Tianlin and a few other imperial cultivation disciples. Tianlin had called many extremely strong cultivators, so the Huashi brother thought that Lin Feng would leave while he still could. "Brother Lin, your Qiongqi has become so much stronger now," said the Huashi brother smiling. Last time he had seen Qiongqi, it was a weak Xian level beast, but now it was a Tian level beast. "If you want to see him like last time, I can hide his cultivation level again," said Lin Feng with an indifferent smile on his face. The Huashi brother was surprised but smiled. "I see. You're actually an expert at concealing skills. I see, last time you also hid your real cultivation level," said the Huashi brother. Although he was skeptical, he still believed Lin Feng. After all, it was almost impossible for a low Xian level beast to turn into a Tian level beast in a few days. At the same time, Lin Feng was so strong that him breaking through to the second Tianqi layer was actually normal. The demonic young man had impressed everyone. Lin Feng had as well. If they were both there, they would have easily defeated the imperial cultivation disciples. Lin Feng smiled and didn't deny anything. He wasn't close to the Huashi brother, but he wasn't interested in the imperial cultivation disciples, so the Huashi brother could think what he wanted. "So you're going to come to the Great Sect meeting tomorrow?" asked the Huashi brother curiously. "If someone offends me, I won't have a choice but to get aggressive again," said Lin Feng. "So your teacher hasn't left either? I personally think you shouldn't come. Prince Tianlin is coming with many strong cultivators this time, even stronger than the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect." "We'll see," said Lin Feng. If he hadn't cared about Tianqi, he wouldn't go in the first place. But the Great Sect meeting's purpose was to gather people to destroy Tianqi. How could he let them do that? Lin Feng also knew that those people were after him. If Prince Tianlin really brought people stronger than the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect, It would be a bit difficult though. Brother Lin, you should relax anyways. Let's not worry about those things. You are like us, you are a genius. Come with me and I will introduce you to some other geniuses. It will be easier for you to walk around if you know them. The Huasher brother said, smiling. He wanted to be friends with Lin Feng because he considered Lin Feng a strong cultivator. He didn't care about Tian Lin and Lin Feng's tensions. After all, he wasn't friends with Prince Tian Lin either. Alright, nodded Lin Feng. At least he was going to see how strong the other geniuses were. Lin Feng and the Huasher brother walked together, alongside Qiong Qi. He talked to Lin Feng using telepathy. Little boy, let's leave Ganyu and go to another region. Whether it be Ba Huang or Jiuyu, they're all much better than Ganyu. If you come with me to where I used to reign, nobody will bully you again. When I'm ready to go there, I'll tell you, replied Lin Feng. Qiong Qi had obtained the void fire and wanted to become even stronger. Qiong Qi was becoming stronger, so Lin Feng had to be careful that Qiong Qi wouldn't use the spirit sealing technique on him. Lin Feng wouldn't feel safe leaving for other regions until he could control Qiong Qi. Chapter 932. Qiong Qi, the ancient ferocious animal. Most of the bars and restaurants in Ahsoka Mountain were full. However, one of them was relatively empty. There weren't so many tables inside, only 8. And even though it was so small, it wasn't even full. There was a group sitting together and chatting like a family at one of the tables. The sound of people's footsteps caused them to raise their heads and look at the front door. There was the Huasher siblings, however. He had brought someone. It was a young man with a yellow face and an ancient beast, a Qiong Qi. An ancient beast? Some people whispered. They all turned their heads with curiosity. It really was an ancient beast, a Qiong Qi. And it was at the Tian level beast. The young man next to the animal looked so weak though. Many people glanced at him in a despising way. Brother, where did you find that animal? Asked someone to the Huasher brother. He lowered and shook his head while smiling. It's not mine. It's my friend's, Brother Lin. His. Suddenly, everybody was looking up at Lin Feng, not because of his abilities but because of his animal. You again, said someone coldly. Lin Feng turned his head and saw Prince Tian Lin. I wanted to say the same to you. It seems we're unlucky, said Lin Feng, smiling. Prince Tian Lin stared at Lin Feng aggressively. He wanted to attack him right there. Everybody looked amused. Tian Lin and Lin Feng seemed to already be enemies, and Lin Feng seemed to be Brother Huasher's friend. Interesting. In a trivial place like Ganyu, surprisingly, a cultivator of the second Tian Qi layer dared offend Prince Tian Lin. Brother, what is the meaning of all this? Asked Prince Tian Lin. The Huasher young man was protecting Lin Feng and actually walked beside them. Prince Tian Lin, Brother Lin is my friend. I brought him here to introduce him other geniuses. Why don't you learn to like him as well? Said the Huasher brother, smiling. Lin Feng and the Huasher brother walked towards a table with 7 seats. The Huasher siblings and Lin Feng sat down. Qiong Qi sat down too but took 4 seats. Brother Lin, let me introduce you my friends. That's Brother Xue, and that's Brother Han, said the Huasher brother. The others nodded at Lin Feng indifferently, just so they didn't humiliate the Huasher brother. Then they looked at Qiong Qi. They seemed more interested in Qiong Qi than in Lin Feng. Brother Lin, you're lucky to have a Qiong Qi as a friend, said Brother Xue with an indifferent smile yet mockingly. Lin Feng just smiled. Those people had an imposing appearance. They looked rich and strong. They had all broken through to at least the 3rd Tian Qi layer. Those people were not ordinary, so Lin Feng didn't really know how to act in front of them. Indeed, I'm quite lucky but not as lucky as you, Brother Xue, said Lin Feng with a gentle smile. A sharp expression appeared in Brother Xue's eyes. Hua Zhangfeng smiled wryly when he saw Brother Xue's reaction. He then said to Lin Feng, Brother Lin, all the others are geniuses too. Let me introduce them. Brother Hua, why is he here with us? Said someone mockingly. That person was sitting at the same table as Prince Tian Lin. Indeed, Hua Zhangfeng should understand that dragons stay with dragons and snakes with snakes. Why did you bring a snake to us dragons? Said someone else mockingly. You're more interested in the beast than the cultivator as well, right, Hua Zhangfeng? He's a piece of trash, said Prince Tian Lin mockingly. Dragons stay with dragons and snakes with snakes. That's right, Prince Tianlin already forgot the humiliation from a few days ago. I admire those who are still with him, said Lin Feng with a resplendent smile. Watch yourself, said that person coldly. Prince Tianlin pulled a long face. Lin Feng was humiliating him again. A bunch of crappy cultivators who just know how to bark. Are Ba Huang and Zhou Yu completely unpopular now? Said Qiong Qi. What a good pet, he wants to protect his master. That person mocked Qiong Qi. Qiong Qi's eyes twinkled as he glared at that person. That alone was almost enough to scare them. Hua Zhangfeng, I have much esteem for you, so let's see if the guy you brought deserves your attention, said that person coldly. They raised their hand and shot some ice-cold energies at Lin Feng. Busy. Scorching hot flames appeared. The ice-cold energies and scorching hot energies mixed in the restaurant. Lin Feng stood up and smiled at that person. If you want to fight, let's go outside. It's too small in here. Prince Tianlin is a piece of trash, so you're probably not much better, said Lin Feng as he then left the restaurant. Kill him, said Tianlin. That person nodded. He wanted to kill Lin Feng and steal his ancient animal. An animal had surprisingly humiliated them as well. They all went outside. The others were amused. The sick-looking man Hua Zhangfeng had brought was funny. He seemed arrogant, but was he strong? Many people recognized Lin Feng outside and came closer to watch the fight. He was the one who had offended Prince Tianlin 6 days before. Now it seemed like he had offended Prince Tianlin's friends. Prince Tianlin's friends were all incredibly strong. They were even considered geniuses. Let me fight, said Qiong Qi to Lin Feng. Surprisingly, that person had humiliated him, an emperor. He wanted to die. What? Lin Feng was surprised but nodded. All right. Qiong Qi was a Tian-level beast and was a lot stronger now. Lin Feng was curious to see how he would do in a battle against a cultivator of the 3rd Tian Qi layer. Stupid animal. I will capture you first and then I will kill your master. Afterwards, I will be your new master, said the young man smiling coldly. Suddenly, Qiong Qi flapped his wings and spat out fire while releasing some fire qi. He flapped his wings even more and rose up in the air. How fast, the crowd was surprised. Qiong Qi turned into a meteor. People couldn't even see him clearly as he was moving across the sky. I'll get you, shouted the opponent loudly as he released a wider range of punch attacks in the air. Roar! Qiong Qi roared loudly. His roar seemed to make people's souls shake. The opponent was even startled. Rumbling sound spread in the air and his punch shadows were destroyed. Qiong Qi then moved towards his opponent to attack him directly. Roar! Qiong Qi spat out some fire. It was becoming difficult to breathe normally because of that fire. Then Qiong Qi's opponent and Qiong Qi disappeared in the smoke. Stupid animal, die! Shouted a voice furiously. However, a few seconds later, the atmosphere became calm again. What? The crowd didn't know what happened. Then the terrifying fire disappeared. Qiong Qi was standing on his opponent. He had blood around his mouth and looked ferocious. The young man's face, however, had turned pale and rigid. He was lying in his own blood. What a cruel animal, the crowd was shocked. As expected, it was a brutal and ferocious animal. Chapter 933. Defeating Prince Tianlin, he was dead. The crowd was astonished. Nobody saw what happened in the fire, but it must have been incredible. Lin Feng was astonished too. Qiong Qi had bitten his opponent to death? What a piece of trash. He dared act arrogantly in front of me, an emperor. I killed him with only one bite, said Qiong Qi. He looked majestic and ferocious. Dragons bite, snakes die. As expected, Qiong Qi is a dragon, not a snake, said Lin Feng mockingly. A moment before, those people were incredibly arrogant, but now their colleague was dead. Prince Tianlin pulled a long face. Qiong Qi had eaten his friend alive. How audacious, said Prince Tianlin coldly. Lin Feng turned around and looked at him saying, what? You were trying to impress us with your strength. You even said you wanted to kill me and steal my animal, but you're not strong enough. So now what? You want to threaten me using your imperial cultivation disciple status? Prince Tianlin looked even worse now. Indeed, he wanted to kill Lin Feng, but his fellow disciple had failed. The one he was calling a piece of trash and his animal were surprisingly stronger than his group. I truly believe that there are incredibly strong and powerful Imperial cultivation disciples, but you guys must be the crappy bunch, said Lin Feng, slowly walking towards Prince Tianlin and pointing his finger at him. Last time our battle was interrupted. Today, let's have an educational battle again to see how strong the Imperial cultivation disciple, who calls me trash, really is. Lin Feng was pointing his finger at Tianlin and humiliating him. That piece of trash wanted to fight against him again. Today is your last day, said Prince Tianlin coldly. He shook his hand. A strong wind began blowing. Die! Shouted Prince Tianlin furiously. He immediately released his spirit and attacked Lin Feng. Lin Feng shook his hand as beams of light appeared. They immediately blocked Prince Tianlin's wind. Do you think you can do anything against me? I told you you're going to die today, said Prince Tianlin. His spirit spun again and moved towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng sensed the strength of a hurricane. He raised his head but couldn't see the sky anymore. His wind spirit is very strong. Even with the strength of the second Tianqi layer, it is still difficult for me to fight against him, thought Lin Feng. He had to be careful he couldn't use his full strength, otherwise people would recognize him. Lin Feng took out a stone and firmly held it. Then he released his book spirit. With that, everything around him became clear and distinct. He could even see the movements of the wind spirit clearly. Energies and strength came out of the stone and flowed into his body. He was absorbing the strength and force of the earth and sky at an incredible speed. Lin Feng sensed the force of the earth and sky as bright lights appeared in his hands. They flowed into his body as he condensed strength. The wind was roaring. It had now fully surrounded Lin Feng. His clothes were suddenly riddled with gaping wounds. If his corporeal body wasn't so strong, he would have died by now. Die! Shouted Prince Tianlin furiously. However, at the same time, Lin Feng raised his hand and punched the wind spirit in a very ordinary way. His punch looked ordinary, but it contained the force of the earth and sky. Boom boom! A collision sounded in the air as the wind spirit was propelled upwards. Lin Feng's strength could actually block the wind spirit. What? The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng, using pure physical strength, had pushed away the wind spirit. Prince Tianlin was just as surprised. Lin Feng took this opportunity to throw himself at Prince Tianlin. Prince Tianlin was startled. Lin Feng raised his hand again. It contained an incredible amount of physical strength. I don't believe that you can punch twice with so much strength, said Prince Tianlin. Sure, it was surprising that he pushed Prince Tianlin away with a single punch, but how many times could he keep it up? Die! Roar! Prince Tianlin's wind emitted whistling sounds and turned into a furious dragon. Boom boom! Lin Feng raised his hand. It looked like a normal punch again, but the strength it contained made the whole area shake violently. The terrifying dragon-shaped wind was instantly destroyed. Prince Tianlin's facial expression changed drastically. He kept punching blindly, but Lin Feng's strength was too great. Lin Feng found an opportunity and punched Tianlin into the air. His organs were damaged and felt painful. He hadn't been able to block Lin Feng's attacks. Gotcha! Blood splashed in the air. His wind spirit went back into his body as he then heavily crashed onto the ground. His face was deathly pale. Imperial cultivation disciples say I'm a piece of trash? You're so strong, haha. You're even weaker than a piece of trash, said Lin Feng with a cold smile. Prince Tianlin was furious, but his organs were preventing him from doing anything. The others were astonished. They would have never thought that Prince Tianlin could lose against Lin Feng, especially with his powerful wind spirit. Chapter 934. Strong and powerful disciple. Dragons flock together and snakes have nothing to do with dragons. I agree, you and I belong to different worlds, said Lin Feng mockingly. They all pulled a long face. They had mocked Lin Feng a moment before and now they were the ones being mocked. Lin Feng had shown them how strong he was and had defeated an imperial cultivation disciple, Prince Tianlin. Prince Tianlin had a very powerful spirit, but it still wasn't enough against Lin Feng. On top of that, Lin Feng had only relied on physical strength to win. Lin Feng's punches looked ordinary, however. They contained an incredible, explosive power of the earth and sky. Prince Tianlin, should we continue calling you Prince? If you hadn't inherited a powerful wind spirit, you'd be even worse than trash. Don't you feel shameless when you insult other people? Said Lin Feng, slowly walking towards Prince Tianlin. Prince Tianlin suddenly jumped on his feet and stared at Lin Feng. Try and kill me if you dare. You wanted to kill me, everyone heard you. I am stronger than you, why wouldn't I dare? Apart from bragging, what other things can you do? Said Lin Feng. Suddenly he jumped forwards with incredible speed. Therefore, if I cripple your cultivation, nothing will have changed, said Lin Feng. Prince Tianlin's face turned deathly pale. Lin Feng wanted to cripple his cultivation. If his cultivation was crippled, his life would be useless. Prince Tianlin used his Xiaoyao agility technique to run away. Xiaoyao agility technique? Said Lin Feng, smiling. Lin Feng released wind intent and moved in a graceful way. It was a mixture of the Xiaoyao agility technique and his own technique. He looked free and unrestrained. He was too fast. He quickly caught up with Prince Tianlin, who had started feeling hopeless. Lin Feng was better than him in terms of both speed and strength, even though he was a member of the godly Xiaoyao sect. His Xiaoyao agility technique wasn't any better than Lin Feng's. The others were astonished. Prince Tianlin was extremely fast but still slower than that sick-looking young man with a yellow face. Besides, Lin Feng now had the strength of the second Tianqi layer, so it was even easier for him to defeat Tianlin. Hua Zhangfeng had millions of thoughts running through his head at that moment. The other day, had Lin Feng really hidden his real strength, or had he broken through to the second Tianqi layer later on, which now allowed him to defeat Tianlin? Die! Shouted Prince Tianlin furiously. He released his wind spirit once again. You really want to die, said Lin Feng furiously. He raised his hand and attacked Prince Tianlin with his fist. The wind spirit was shaking violently. Boom! A terrifying strength crashed onto his body. Again he flew away. Lin Feng looked emotionless. He continued running after Tianlin as he yelled, The other day I told you if you and I were of the same level, I could kill you like an insect. You're a good-for-nothing, a piece of trash. You're not even capable of evaluating your own strength. Lin Feng was making big steps as he raised his hands and sharp energies appeared. He wanted to cripple Tianlin's cultivation but not kill him. Prince Tianlin's face turned deathly pale. He looked at the other imperial cultivation disciples who were with him, but nobody helped him. He had no friends at all. Their relations were only superficial. They didn't care about him having his cultivation crippled. Prince Tianlin felt desperate, hopeless and furious. Lin Feng was now in front of Prince Tianlin, whose face was as white as paper. He looked at Lin Feng and said, If you kill me, my fellow disciples will kill you. Let's talk about it after I meet them, said Lin Feng, smiling. He didn't care anyways, nobody knew who he really was. Chongqi could help him too. He was safe as long as Chongqi stayed with him. And in any case, he could hide his identity in the future as well, nobody would recognize him then. Goodbye, genius, said Lin Feng, raising his hands. Stop, said a voice furiously from very far away. Lin Feng felt oppressed by that voice. Without hesitating, he jumped backwards. A huge crater appeared where he was standing a few seconds before, in front of Tianlin. What a terrifying power, the crowd was amazed. They raised their heads and saw a young man in a golden robe. His facial expression looked ice cold. He looked domineering and majestic. Looking would make a person shiver. No one could guess his real age though. How strong! That was already a high-level cultivator of the Xiaoyao sect. Yet he seemed so young. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that that person wasn't really young. They looked young thanks to their cultivation level. Xian-level cultivators, for example, could live up to 200 years, whereas Tian-level cultivators could live up to 500 years. Concerning Zun cultivators, they could live for a very long time, it just depended on their cultivation level. It was said that some Zun cultivators could live up to 1,000 years. Therefore, Xian-level cultivators couldn't compete with Zun cultivators in appearance. At 100 years old, a Xian-level cultivator had already lived half of their life, so they looked old. However, a 100-year-old Zun cultivator looked extremely young. Brother, kill him, said Prince Tianlin. The cultivator was an imperial cultivation disciple, Tianlin's fellow disciple. They were both members of the same imperial cultivation sect, but that cultivator was infinitely stronger than Tianlin. The crowd was stunned. Prince Tianlin's fellow disciple was there. Lin Feng was doomed now. Many people were looking at Lin Feng with compassion. Lin Feng was doomed. Qiongqi roared, jumped and landed behind Lin Feng. He stared at the cultivator in the sky and said to Lin Feng, "That person is extraordinarily strong. I'm not even sure your teacher can defeat him. He must be one of the strongest imperial cultivation disciples." Lin Feng nodded. "Damn Prince Tianlin, what a coward. I told you that if you had come abroad with me, things would have been different," said Qiongqi, but Lin Feng replied, "With you on my side, I am safe anyway." "Bastard, do you think I will always protect you?" said Qiongqi furiously. "If I die, you won't necessarily meet someone as nice as me," said Lin Feng indifferently. Qiongqi was speechless. He knew that the continent of the Nine Clouds was huge. If an extremely strong cultivator captured him, what would he become? Even though Lin Feng could be annoying, he was at least tolerable. Chapter 935. Sword Reincarnation Imperial Cultivation Disciple, said Lin Feng mockingly with a magnificent smile. "What are you laughing at?" asked the person in the sky. "I laugh because you all have extraordinary lives, but at the same time you are all so ordinary. For example, Tianlin, he thinks he's the strongest and the most powerful person in the world. He thinks nobody can defeat him. In the end, my cultivation level is lower than his and I easily defeated him. If I were at the same cultivation level, I would have killed him in a flash like an insect, like a nobody. Therefore, I think I can say that imperial cultivation disciples are mere trash," said Lin Feng. "Today Tianlin lost and you came. Do you think that's fair? You guys are just empty. If you want to attack, do it directly. Why do you need to stay in the sky and pretend to be so mysterious? If you and I were at the same level, I'd do the same to you. You'd be on the floor like an insect. The only difference between you and I is that you have practiced cultivation for more time. There's nothing glorious about that," said Lin Feng indifferently. Many people, even in the distance, were sweating because of that statement. How scary, he didn't even fear death. However, bowing and begging for his life wasn't Lin Feng's style. He was proud and had the utmost self-esteem. "All right," said the person indifferently. "Unfortunately, you will never be the same level as me." "Maybe I will," said Lin Feng smiling. "Is that so?" The young man released dazzling golden energies, as dazzling as the sun. Most people couldn't even keep their eyes open. "Nobody can predict the future, but at least if I kill you now, you won't come back to life," said the young man. His energies were more and more dazzling. Lin Feng found it difficult to keep his eyes open too. "Fighting against someone much younger than you. You're really shameless," said someone. The voice came from very far away. At that moment, Lin Feng said to Qiongqi using telepathy, "Let's go." But Qiongqi didn't react. He looked at the sky. There was a dazzling silver light. A sword, it's a sword. People were slack-jawed. The earth and sky looked pale when compared to those lights. Even the other cultivators' golden lights didn't look as bright in comparison. It was as if a silver river were flowing from the sky. When the lights dispersed, the other cultivators' golden lights had disappeared as well. The man in the golden robe was aghast while gazing into the distance. The cultivator who had just arrived was wearing a silver robe and carried a silver sword. His long black hair was fluttering in the wind. His eyes were dark. How handsome, thought the crowd. Another terrifyingly strong cultivator, thought the crowd. "Qing Lin," said the man in the golden robe in a respectful way. That person was extremely famous. "You came to Ganyu," said the man in a golden robe. Qing Lin had come to such a small place as Ganyu. "You came, so why couldn't I?" said Qing Lin indifferently. "You Shao, you're lucky to be a genuine imperial cultivation disciple, and to receive the emperor's teachings. Surprisingly, you came here to bully low-level cultivators of the Tianqi layer. Don't you feel ashamed?" "He attacked our fellow disciple. I had to attack," replied Yu Shao coldly. "What does it have to do with you anyway, Ho Qing Lin?" "I couldn't help watch something so despicable, so I attacked," replied Ho Qing Lin indifferently. "Is that enough?" said Yu Shao, narrowing his eyes. "Could it be that easy?" Qing Lin was extremely famous. He was famous for being able to reincarnate into a sword. Even stronger cultivators found it difficult to fight against him. All the imperial cultivation disciples on the ground looked at him with admiration. Even the one with the golden robe directly received the teachings of the emperor, but they had never heard of him. However, Qing Lin was very famous. Tian Lin looked pale. What happened? Why had he protected Lin Feng? Only a few words, he couldn't help it. He was proud and had moral values, that was why. From the distance, many more strong cultivators arrived. "You Xiao," said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect when he saw the young man in the golden clothes. Prince Tianlin had managed to bring Yu Xiao to Ganyu. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect understood that it was only thanks to his parents. He himself wasn't famous enough. Who was the other one? With the extraordinary qi and the silver robe. Incredible! The Snow Zoom cultivator also arrived. When he saw that Lin Feng had broken through to the second Tianqi layer, he felt relieved. Besides, Chongqi had also become a Tian-level beast. Void Fire. The Snow Zoom cultivator knew that Lin Feng and Chongqi had stolen the Void Fire. How come Chongqi had become so much stronger though? How could he swallow the Void Fire as a Xian-level beast? "Teacher, the one in the golden clothes is Tian Lin's fellow disciple. He attacked me but someone else protected me. Do you know him?" said Lin Feng using telepathy. He was wondering if the cultivator was from Tianqi after all. Lin Feng didn't know many strong cultivators. The Snow Zoom cultivator shook his head and said, "He is very, very strong. Tianqi doesn't have such strong cultivators. I don't know him either. His name is Ho Qing Lin. Qing Lin sword reincarnation, that's a kind of surname." Lin Feng wanted to see if his teacher had ever heard of him. Qing Lin sword reincarnation, Ho Qing Lin. The old man remained silent. No, it didn't ring a bell at all. I don't know him at all. So strange, thought Lin Feng. He didn't understand why that person had helped him. "Forget it, this has nothing to do with you," said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect to Ho Qing Lin. It seems like the Xiaoyao sect really wants the godly Xiaoyao sect to control everything. When your people lose a battle, do you always send extraordinarily strong cultivators to retaliate? What is the purpose of the great sect meeting then? Why don't you go straight to Tianqi and annihilate them directly? Said the Snow Zoom cultivator slowly while releasing ice-cold energies. Chapter 936. Chaotic Battle. Ho Qing Lin looked at the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect and smiled indifferently. "I heard you organized the great sect meeting to find a leader. Yu Xiao came here to apply and so did I, and that's fair. The great sect meeting only concerns us in Ganyu. You getting involved might not be that appropriate," said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. "Yu Xiao and the other imperial cultivation disciples are among Ganyu's people. Why are they allowed to participate and I'm not? Could you please explain?" said Ho Qing Lin to the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Yu Xiao is a member of the godly Xiaoyao sect, so him participating is a normal thing. You said the meeting only concerned those from Ganyu, not the Xiaoyao sect. I don't think that the godly Xiaoyao sect owns Ganyu, do they? Said Ho Qing Lin indifferently and calmly. No need to find lame excuses. If Yu Xiao can participate, then I can too, and that's final. Do you want to become an enemy of Ganyu? Said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Are the members of the Xiaoyao sect all that shameless? Said Lin Feng, who couldn't bear it anymore. He then said coldly, Prince Tianlin is shameless and stupid. He called me a piece of trash even though he's even worse than a piece of trash. Now you're saying that Ganyu's affairs are the Xiaoyao sect's affairs. If you came here, it's only because you want to take over Ganyu. Then you say that other participants who aren't members of the Xiaoyao sect are enemies of Ganyu? Let me ask you something. Are you a complete retard, or am I the one who has trouble understanding your logic? Moron, how dare you disrespect an elder? Shouted the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect furiously. His voice made Lin Feng's entire body shake. Lin Feng looked at the patriarch and said, You're an old barking dog. Do you still have teeth to bite with? Boom! The patriarch was suddenly infuriated. An old dog? A trivial cultivator of the Tianqi layer was insulting and humiliating him. The crowd around was astonished. Did Lin Feng have a mental breakdown? How could he call the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect an old dog? Lin Feng was audacious indeed. Of course he wasn't careless. The other guy was humiliating him, so how could he accept that? He didn't care, nobody would recognize him the future anyways, whether it be the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect or other people. You want to die, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect coldly. Ah, the old dog wants to bite. There's no need to hide. If you want to bite, just do it directly. There's no need to pretend you're a human being, said Lin Feng mockingly. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was going to burst in fury. That old dog does seem to have sharp teeth though, so be careful or you could get injured, said Qiongqi. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was shaking with fury. An animal and a cultivator of the Tianqi layer were humiliating him and calling him a dog. You both want to die, said the patriarch, releasing energies which immediately moved towards Lin Feng and Qiongqi. However, the Snow Zune cultivator laughed and said, You don't respect other people, why should they respect you? People being disrespectful to you should be a normal occurrence for you. The Snow Zune cultivator jumped into the air. He raised his fist and attacked the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Kill him and that animal, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. In a flash, all of the Xiaoyao sect members' silhouettes flickered. They immediately attacked Lin Feng and Qiongqi. Since you want to kill my disciple, don't blame for being impolite, said the Snow Zune cultivator coldly. He punched the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect again and propelled him backwards. At the same time, he flew downwards and released energies to attack the other members of the Xiaoyao sect. In just that moment he had killed so many people. How dare you? Shouted the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect furiously. You want to kill my disciple, there's nothing I don't dare, said the old man coldly. He continued attacking other people with his godly awareness and shouted furiously, Mountain-like godly awareness, die. The old man's godly awareness turned into a mountain oppressing the enemies. Boom boom boom. Collision sound spread in the air. Many people died instantly. Arg, the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect released his godly awareness and attacked Lin Feng. Do you think you will have such an opportunity? Said the old man with a cold smile. His mountain-like godly awareness moved towards the patriarch's godly awareness and directly oppressed it. Old dog, or maybe you're a pig. By ordering the members of the Xiaoyao sect, do you want to kill them? Said Lin Feng mockingly. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was infuriated. The old man was able to protect Lin Feng, but the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was unable to protect his own people. The old man was too strong. The remaining members of the Xiaoyao sect didn't dare attack Lin Feng anymore. They couldn't get close to him if the old man was there. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was unable to keep the old man under control. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect really hoped that a member of his sect would become the leader, but with Lin Feng and his teacher it would be difficult. Some of his amazing members were already dead. What he didn't know though was that Lin Feng and his teacher weren't really interested in becoming leaders. Their purpose was to spread chaos. The more chaotic the meeting was, the better. The members of the Xiaoyao sect are pieces of trash. How come they dare act so arrogantly? With an old dog as a patriarch, you guys have no future, unlike my teacher and I, said Lin Feng pointing at the members of the Xiaoyao sect. How arrogant! Everybody was looking at him despisingly. Are you not convinced yet? If you aren't, then come and fight. I will fight cultivators of the 5th Tianqi layer alone. My teacher won't even get involved. Killing you is as easy as slaughtering pigs, said Lin Feng. The old man and the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect were already fighting using their terrifying godly awareness. They couldn't be disturbed. I will fight you, someone said, jumping out using the Xiaoyao agility technique. Lin Feng smiled. He started running and released a terrifying qi. He was holding his Tianxian stone and condensing the explosive strength of the earth and sky. Explosions sounded in the air. His opponent had broken through to the 5th Tianqi layer. Die! Shouted Lin Feng while releasing his ancient bell godly awareness. You want to die, said the cultivators of the 5th Tianqi layer. His godly awareness turned into gigantic wings which bombarded Lin Feng's ancient bell. He wasn't afraid of Lin Feng. Bizzizi, the ancient bell emitted buzzing sounds. Was it going to break? Boom boom. Another sound spread in the air. The ancient bell was broken and dazzling lights had appeared. It was Lin Feng's godly awareness palace, but it didn't seem as real as the ancient bell. Lin Feng immediately attacked the wing godly awareness even though his godly awareness palace hadn't completely appeared yet. Slash. Lin Feng raised his hand. Golden lights moved towards his enemy. That person was caught off guard. His wing godly awareness crashed into the godly awareness palace but was stuck inside. The golden lights pierced into his head and through his eyes. A subtle sound spread in the air as that person's face turned deathly pale. His wing godly awareness slowly disappeared inside the palace and blood splashed everywhere. "You bastard!" shouted someone furiously. They hadn't thought that Lin Feng would kill his enemy. He had helped him once and now Ho Qinglin had helped Lin Feng again. Why? Who was he? Why did he keep helping Lin Feng? What was going on? The continent of the 9 clouds was gigantic. Such strong cultivators had nothing to do in Ganyu. What was he doing in Ganyu and why was he helping Lin Feng? The Snow Zune cultivator was skeptical. I can't help but intervene when a Zune cultivator attacks a cultivator of the Tianqi layer. Especially of the second Tianqi layer, said Ho Qinglin indifferently. The crowd glanced at him but nobody said anything. He was way too strong. Chapter 938. The Arson Yushao. The name of the meeting is the Great Sect Meeting, which means it includes all sections. How come I have the feeling that the protagonist of the meeting is the Xiaoyao sect though? I think that the Xiaoyao sect had already planned who the leader was going to be from the start, said Ho Qinglin indifferently while glancing back at Yu Xiao. If I see any weak cultivators get bullied by strong cultivators again, I will attack. If you want to fight, do it with principles. The crowd was speechless. His strength was astonishing and on top of that, he had morals. If an ordinary cultivator talked that way, he would be dead already. I have the same impression. Seems like a plot. The Xiaoyao sect is just using an excuse to take over Ganyu. If you become the leaders of the Great Sect Meeting, I wonder what will happen to Ganyu, said the Zune cultivator. Then he looked at King Dragon and said, King Dragon Mieching Duanmu, you also participated in the organization of the Great Sect Meeting, so please tell us the rules to becoming a leader. If things remain so chaotic, the Great Sect Meeting will fail and it will have been useless to come here. King Dragon, Mieching and Duanmu obviously wanted to be leaders too. But with Prince Tianlin and the other extremely strong cultivators of the godly Xiaoyao sect, they couldn't say much. By letting those people become leaders, they were forced to help them. They hadn't thought that Lin Feng and his teacher would ruin their plans. Later on, Prince Tianlin invited Yu Xiao to come, so it was obvious that Yu Xiao would become the leader. This time, Ho Qinglin was the one who had ruined everything. We're going to discuss these things. Tomorrow, when the Great Sect Meeting starts, we'll tell you our thoughts, said King Dragon. Many people nodded and dispersed. I am convinced you will make the right decision, said the Snow Zune cultivator indifferently. See you tomorrow, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect coldly, glancing at Lin Feng and the Snow Zune cultivator. He would have never thought that such a big battle would happen on that day, or that the Xiaoyao sect would lose so many members. Even a Zune cultivator had died. What a loss. Tiny little insect. Sooner or later, I will kill him, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect glancing at Lin Feng. He rolled up his sleeves and left. I really don't think that such an old dog could harm anyone, said Lin Feng mockingly. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was upset that Lin Feng kept humiliating him and calling him an old dog. People slowly dispersed. Ho Qinglin glanced at the crowd and said, I also want to see what will happen at the Great Sect Meeting. I will stay here for 2 days. If I see anything disturbing, I won't be able to hold myself back. Then he jumped up in the sky and disappeared from everyone's field of vision. He may have disappeared from their fields of vision but not from their memories, especially his silver sword. His sword seemed like it could open the doors of life and death. What an incredible power. Teacher, let's go and rest too, said Lin Feng to the Snow Zune cultivator who was still in the sky. The Snow Zune cultivator nodded and landed. Then they left together. They hadn't booked a room in Asoka Mountain, so they had to stay in the Fire Mountain range. Cultivators didn't need hotel rooms anyways. Sleeping on the ground in the wilderness was normal for them. It was best to practice cultivation in a cave. Lin Feng and Mr. Bai were wondering who Ho Qing Lin was. Why was he helping them? The only explanation was that he really couldn't stand seeing shameless people. The strongest cultivator Lin Feng knew was Mr. Xiao, but that cultivator clearly wasn't Mr. Xiao. In the Fire Mountain, there was a cave outside of which a fire had been built. Lin Feng looked at Qiongqi and said, "Greatest Emperor." "Greatest Emperor?" Qiongqi was surprised. He looked at Lin Feng with his big eyes and said indifferently, "Just call me Emperor or Yendi. No need to call me Greatest Emperor. In the antiquity there were many strong cultivators. Even though I am extremely strong, I am not the greatest emperor." Lin Feng laughed and said, "You'll have to get used to it, haha. I was wondering, did Ho Qing Lin learn that skill or did he inherit it from birth?" "Both, of course," said Yendi indifferently. "Ganyu is a tiny region, so you don't know how terrifying cultivators can be abroad. There are many different types of spirits. Many people inherit from their parents' powers. I supposed Ho Qing Lin's spirit contains reincarnation intent, and he practiced it later on. On top of that, he must be extremely intelligent, he must have amazing understanding abilities. He is still so young and yet so powerful. He can even make black holes with his sword. If continues on like this, he will definitely become an emperor," said Yendi in a solemn and respectful way. He looked at the sky and thought about his past. He felt nostalgic. Even though he had broken through to the Tianqi layer, he still had a lot to do to regain the strength he had in the past. "What about me? Will I become an emperor or even a great emperor?" asked Lin Feng with a smile. "Bullshit, with me on your side, how could you not become an emperor? I just have to closely monitor your progress," said Yendi indifferently. Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling. According to Yendi, becoming an emperor wouldn't be difficult for him. Yendi, according to you, Zun cultivators can be referred to as emperors. So how should I differentiate their cultivation levels? Asked Lin Feng curiously. When you become an emperor, you don't differentiate cultivation levels like before. But you can't understand such things now. You don't need to learn too much at once anyways. When you become a Zun cultivator, I will explain those things to you, said Qiongqi. Lin Feng felt annoyed. Are there stronger cultivators than great emperors? Lin Feng felt overwhelmed with thought. He recalled the demon emperor in the Jade Emperor's palace. Were there peerless cultivators? Was there a strongest cultivator in the world? Stronger than great emperors, whispered Yendi, and then he remained silent. Lin Feng turned around and looked at Yendi. He was looking at the sky too. Lin Feng wondered what he was thinking. But Lin Feng also understood that thinking about those things was useless. Nowadays, imperial cultivation disciples could still humiliate him. He had a long way to go. Phew. Lin Feng breathed deeply, stood up and said to Qiongqi, Your Majesty, let's go, what do you think? Qiongqi stared at Lin Feng and said, What do you want to do? Lin Feng smiled evilly and said, Let's see the members of the Xiaoyao sect. Silly boy, you want me to help you again, said Qiongqi. He didn't want to go. The dormitory for the members of the Xiaoyao sect was on fire. Someone had set it on fire. But who would have set their living quarters on fire? The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was incredibly furious. People kept humiliating him today. He had been injured in his fight before. Now someone set his living quarters on fire. Each time he couldn't protect his people or capture his enemies. What a humiliation. Even though that fire didn't injure anyone, it was still extremely annoying. The great sect meeting was becoming a nightmare for the members of the Xiaoyao sect. Because of the fire, their faces had all turned black. Chapter 939 Violent Death. On the contrary, Lin Feng was having fun. He was in a very good mood, especially when he saw the Xiaoyao sect members' burnt faces. What happened yesterday in the middle of the night in Asoka Mountain? Asked Lin Feng indifferently. Many people looked at him with murder. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect looked at Lin Feng and said, You're the one who started the fire, aren't you? If I had set your living quarters of fire, you would have all died because you're all pieces of trash, said Lin Feng while laughing mockingly. He was the one who had set the fire though. Humph, the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect groaned and said to Lin Feng, using telepathy, don't think that he can protect you. I don't think he'll stay on your side forever. You're just a nobody after all. You offended the Xiaoyao sect, so you will pay the price with your life sooner or later. Why don't you talk in front of everybody? I'm so weak compared to you, and yet, you still don't dare talk openly. Why use telepathy to threaten me? Asked Lin Feng very loudly so that everybody could hear him clearly. Surprisingly, the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect used telepathy to threaten Lin Feng. Humph, the Xiaoyao sect is so dignified, said the Snow Zune cultivator sarcastically. Everybody was looking at him. Then the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect looked at Lin Feng. He hated him, he wanted to kill him. But when he saw Ho Qinglin sitting on a stone throne, he shivered. What was that guy doing in Ganyu? Yu Xiao had told him that he was very famous because of his strength, but what were his connections with Ganyu? Old dog, come and attack me if you can't bear it anymore. If you have no balls, then stop acting so arrogant, said Lin Feng to the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect using telepathy. This made the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect come back to his senses. He needed a leader and Lin Feng couldn't become one, that was certain. Lin Feng was threatening him using telepathy, but could he tell everyone openly that Lin Feng was doing that? The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect gulped and remained silent. At that moment, many incredibly strong cultivators arrived on stage. King Dragon, Mieching and Duanmu glanced at the crowd and King Dragon said, "We talked yesterday and decided that we couldn't have one leader, we need an influential group as a leader, a group of leaders. That's the fairest solution." As expected, Lin Feng smiled coldly. Once again, the rules were in favor of the people with whom they had affinities. They really wanted to keep the great sect meeting under their own control. Everybody understood, but nobody could refute the rules. Besides, choosing an influential group as the leaders wasn't groundless either. If an influential group only has one or two people, will they have to confront an entire group to compare their strength? Shouted Lin Feng. No, said King Dragon, shaking his head. He added, those who want to apply can come onto the stage. If there is an influential group, they can have 5 people come on stage. If they don't have 5 people, then everybody can come on stage. Their strength will be the only factor used to choose the leaders. So influential groups could choose their strongest cultivators. How many groups can help an influential group? Someone asked. 5 groups can help another group, said King Dragon. The Xiaoyao sect, the East Sea Dragon Palace, Jade Heaven, Shengong, the 9 Cloud Sword sect and the Necropolis sect, 6 influential groups. That was perfect for them. All right. Those who want to apply, choose up to 5 people and have them come on stage. Then we can either proceed with votes or battles to choose the leaders, said King Dragon. Very quickly, some people jumped on the stage. They belonged to 6 groups of influence: the Xiaoyao sect, the East Sea Dragon Palace, Jade Heaven, Shengong, the 9 Cloud Sword sect and the Necropolis sect. Apart from Tianqi, they were the most powerful groups in Ganyu. Competing with them would be very difficult. Besides, the 4 people on stage were incredibly strong and the 5th one was still in the sky looking at everyone from above. Does anyone else want to apply? Asked King Dragon. It seems like there are only those 4, and who knows if that one in the sky wants to apply or not, said Lin Feng. King Dragon glanced at Lin Feng in a cold way. Yendi, get ready to fight, said Lin Feng to Chongqi using telepathy. Chongqi roared in a low voice. He knew what he had to do. He wasn't near Lin Feng in order to not draw people's attention. Lin Feng glanced at the people on the stage in a cold way. This time he wasn't playing around. Those who want to apply to become leaders, come on stage. This is the last call. I'll give you a minute to think about it carefully, continued King Dragon. Nobody stepped on the stage. With those strong cultivators, it was difficult to compete. They could only watch and accept. Many people were whispering. This time it seemed like the leaders were already chosen. Nobody in the crowd felt like opposing them. They just wanted to go to Tianqi and see if they could obtain precious treasures. They knew that Tianqi's people had obtained incredible treasures in the mysterious world. Lin Feng had probably obtained the Jade Emperor's treasures too. So if they were lucky, they could get an emperor's treasure. Many people didn't care about Tianqi but cared about its treasures, however. They didn't know that Lin Feng was among them. I thought you two wanted to apply? You kept talking about it. said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect to Lin Feng and Mr. Bai with a cold smile. Two people, so two battles at same cultivation level, alright? Asked Lin Feng. Humph, the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect didn't reply but groaned coldly. If not, then stop talking shit. 2 people against 5, is that fair? You're really shameless, said Lin Feng. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect grinded his teeth. He hated Lin Feng so much. Impolite brat, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect, but did nothing more. The atmosphere became calm. The crowd was waiting for the minute to be over. What? At that moment Yu Xiao frowned and looked at the stage. He sensed something. What? There's something wrong. The strong cultivator sensed something. Back! Shouted Yu Xiao extremely loudly. A fireball appeared. It was dazzling as it fell from the sky and fell on the stage, bursting into flames and exploding. People gave horrible shrieks. Those lights contained deadly abstruse energies. They were so powerful that they could crush Zoom cultivators easily. People who were close to the stage jumped backwards, but some people didn't have time to avoid the attack and died. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect used his Xiaoyao agility technique and rose up in the air. Then he released an incredible amount of energies. Slashing sounds were spreading in the air as he was soaked in blood. Nobody could do anything against those abstruse energies. 6 influential groups, 30 people. A dozen people were already dead. Everybody was astonished by that power. Bastard! Lin Feng was annoyed that Yu Xiao had sensed something. Otherwise, everybody would have died. The 6 leaders had all managed to avoid the attack. Chapter 940. Revealing his social status, the crowd ran away. Those who hadn't died and were standing in the sky could only observe. The stage was completely destroyed and turned into dust. The bodies of those who had died had turned into dust too. What a tragedy! Those who had managed to avoid the attack were all injured though, just not to the same extent. The members of the 6 influential groups were furious. Someone had cast a deadly spell on the stage which could kill Zoom cultivators. Even those who had managed to escape would have died if they had moved a second too late. Mysterious marks. Ho Qinglin's eyes were twinkling. Surprisingly, someone extremely strong and powerful knew how to use mysterious marks. It aroused his curiosity. Even amongst Zoom cultivators, only the strongest ones could understand and use mysterious marks. Besides that, she was extremely pure. That kind of strong cultivator was much stronger than the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect and the others. Such a strong cultivator didn't even need mysterious marks to defeat those people. Unless, Ho Qinglin suddenly thought about something. There were 2 possibilities. The first one was that there was an incredibly strong cultivator who has mastered mysterious marks, but was bad at practicing cultivation. That possibility could be eliminated immediately. Such strong cultivators didn't need to do things that way. The second possibility, and the only probably one, was that there was an incredibly strong cultivator who was injured and could only rely on mysterious marks to kill his enemies. Ho Qinglin had no choice but to accept that hypothesis. He was very intelligent and had almost guessed right. However, no matter how smart he was, he couldn't guess what was really going on. There was a great emperor who wasn't as strong as before, and who could only rely on mysterious marks to kill people. Yu Xiao had also recognized those mysterious marks, and his facial expression changed drastically. Surprisingly, someone was plotting against them and was attempting to ruin the great sect meeting. King Dragon and the other strong cultivators pulled a long face from their injuries. Who did that? Asked King Dragon to the other leaders. No matter who did that, that person must be in Ahsoka Mountain and possibly amongst the crowd, said Duanmu coldly. The fire chi was still burning his skin. That's abstruse strength. There are not many people who can get that many abstruse crystals. Besides, with that many crystals, it must be someone from a very large influential group, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Everybody thought the same thing. They were getting closer to the truth. Tianqi, said some people at the same time. Who would waste so many crystals to kill them apart from Tianqi? Nobody. It surely is Tianqi, no doubt about it. We already knew that they were here. However, who is that strong in Tianqi? Asked King Dragon. Even the strongest cultivators of his clan couldn't cast such powerful spells, especially without being noticed. No need to guess. I know who, said someone at that moment. They all looked at that person. It was Mie Qing. Who? Everybody was staring at Mie Qing. King Dragon Duanmu, have you forgotten how your people died in Shuiyu? Said Mie Qing, looking at King Dragon and Duanmu. They grew angry as they remembered someone in particular. Lin Feng. The strong cultivators said Lin Feng's name at the same time. Lin Feng. They wanted to destroy Tianqi, but their real target was Lin Feng. How could they forget their real target? Back then, the EC Dragon Palace, Jade Heaven and Shenggong had sent Zun cultivators to Shuiyu, and the mysterious marks had reportedly killed them. They could only guess that Lin Feng had obtained a precious weapon which allowed him to make mysterious marks, and that was how he had set up traps in his palace in Shuiyu. It was similar to what had just happened on the stage. They now understood that it wasn't a weapon per se but a skill that made mysterious marks. Lin Feng, where is he? The crowd was wondering. Very quickly, they looked in his direction, but he had disappeared. They were furious. They grinded their teeth. He is Lin Feng. They were right. The sick-looking young man was Lin Feng. Each time he appeared, it was to confront them. He was definitely Lin Feng. Those people were furious. They had organized the Great Sect meeting to plot against Lin Feng, and when he appeared before them, they didn't even recognize him. Lin Feng had even repeatedly humiliated them. He even called the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect an old dog. If that was Lin Feng, then the old man with him could only be the old man who had destroyed Shenggong, the strong cultivator from Tianqi, the leader of Tianxian. No doubt it was them. It was no wonder that he was that strong. But where were they now? They had seemingly disappeared. Chase them, hurry up and chase them. The old man and the sick-looking young man with a yellow face are from Tianqi. They are precisely Lin Feng and his teacher from Tianqi. They wanted to kill us all, shouted the leaders furiously. They weren't interested in how Lin Feng had managed to make those mysterious marks appear. It was more important to capture them. Their ultimate target was Lin Feng. Lin Feng, that was Lin Feng. The crowd was astonished. Surprisingly, the two people who had spread chaos throughout the meetings were Lin Feng and his teacher. Chase them, said people one after the other. Lin Feng had precious treasures. Could they find him though? Who could have thought that Lin Feng was still in the crowd and had transformed again? He was even chasing himself with the others. While the spell was activated on the stage, Lin Feng prepared to escape and communicated with the old man. He hadn't thought that people would find out it was him, but the solution was easy. He just had to change his face. Who would know who he was now? Luckily, Mr. Xiao had given him several masks which all looked incredibly real. Nobody recognized him. Amongst the crowd were some people who didn't move. Prince Tianlin and the others. They knew about Lin Feng, they had heard about him, and they also know that he had incredible treasures. The sick-looking young man with a yellow face was Lin Feng this whole time. He wanted to crush Lin Feng even more. He wanted to destroy Tianqi, brother. Let's go and destroy Tianqi, said Prince Tianlin, looking at Yu Xiao, who was still in the sky. Chapter 941. Going to Tianqi as expected. Nobody could find Lin Feng because he was still in the crowd. How could they find him with his new identity? As for the Snow Zun cultivator, even if he had escaped, nobody would have been able to catch up with him. At that moment, King Dragon, Mie Qing, Duanmu and the others were in the sky and looking around. They could see very far away. Everybody, please be silent and listen to me, said King Dragon. Everybody heard him from very far away. King Dragon looked at the crowd and continued. You have all seen how evil Tianqi's people are. They ruined our great sect meeting and killed so many of our strong cultivators. We don't know what kind of treasures Lin Feng has obtained, but surprisingly, he has gained some amazing powers. If we don't destroy Tianqi and kill Lin Feng, Ganyu as we know it is doomed. Everybody heard clearly. His voice was so loud that it hurt some people's ears. However, people remembered one sentence in particular. They didn't know what precious items Lin Feng had obtained. Most people could only guess. However, if Lin Feng had been able to turn into another person and cast an incredibly powerful spell on the stage, then he must have obtained some incredible items. Otherwise, how could he have killed 3 Zun cultivators in Shuiyu? Same for what had happened just a moment before. Besides, we don't need to choose a leader for the great sect meeting. The 6 of us can go to Tianqi and destroy them together, said King Dragon. They were determined to go to Tianqi and kill Tianqi's people. They couldn't wait any longer. They had all lost too many people. They had to go. Just follow me if you want to destroy Tianqi. If you don't, piss off. If Tianqi has treasures, those who come will benefit from them as well. Don't blame me for being merciless to traitors, said King Dragon. In the world of cultivation there was no mercy. If they wanted to be powerful, they had to be strong. Many people were tempted. Tianqi had existed for so long, they probably had incredible treasures such as skills and techniques. Now let's go. Destination Tianqi, said King Dragon. The 6 strong cultivators nodded and the members of their groups followed them. A whole army full of strong cultivators were flying in the sky. It was happening. They were going to war against Tianqi. Those people had, at least, broken through to the Tianqi layer. Xian-level cultivators couldn't do anything. Let's kill them. Let's kill them, let's kill them, shouted King Dragon, and instantly many people repeated what he said. It was like a war chant. Their energies made loud sounds and they looked like a dragon in the sky. There were hundreds of sects together, a myriad of strong cultivators. The scene was impressive. Tianqi is doomed. So many people were joining hands to destroy Tianqi. Lin Feng looked at those sects and looked quite sad. So many people were going to Tianqi to destroy them. Tianqi couldn't possibly resist them all. You will regret, thought Lin Feng. His eyes looked sharp. Someday he'd reach the clouds and make them all regret. The Imperial Cultivation disciples, Prince Tianlin and the others. Yu Xiao and Ho Qinglin hadn't left. They decided remain there. Why haven't you left Ganyu yet? Asked Yu Xiao to Ho Qinglin. He didn't understand why Ho Qinglin had come to Ganyu. He didn't believe that Lin Feng and Ho Qinglin could know each other. Forget me, what about you? Said Ho Qinglin with an air of superiority. There's no need to mention that Yu Xiao was afraid of Ho Qinglin. I'm not done here, so I'm not leaving yet, said Yu Xiao to Ho Qinglin. Ho Qinglin was the only person Yu Xiao was weary of. I'm interested in the great sect meeting. I want to see how they would handle everything, said Ho Qinglin indifferently. Yu Xiao remained silent. He didn't want to offend Ho Qinglin. I'm not staying here with you, sorry, said Yu Xiao as then he followed the crowd. He hoped that Ho Qinglin wouldn't follow him. Everybody was moving extremely fast towards Tianqi Empire. At that moment Lin Feng had outpaced the crowd with his great rock. There were so many people so they couldn't be as fast as a great rock. A few days later, Lin Feng was surrounded by snowy mountains. Lin Feng wouldn't let those people pollute such a holy place. As Lin Feng arrived, he saw many strong cultivators at the entrance. They were sitting cross-legged in the snow. They were covered with snow so ordinary cultivators wouldn't have seen them. 7 people were sitting in the mountains, the leaders of the 7 peaks. Lin Feng. Lin Feng, Lin Feng. Many people opened their eyes and had strange facial expressions. The 7 leaders opened their eyes too and looked at Lin Feng. Little Lin Feng, you came back, said the Snow Zone cultivator, nodding at Lin Feng. He had been to the great sect meeting with Lin Feng and he had seen how scary Lin Feng could be. Someday Lin Feng would become extremely strong. He might even reign over Ganyu. Teacher, said Lin Feng. I am sorry, it's all my fault. Tianqi has so many enemies because of me. As long as you realize it and admit it, that's fine, said Tian Shuzi with a cold smile. Brothers, listen to me, we should hand him over as I said. If we reject Lin Feng, we won't be in danger anymore. On top of that, we could still use his treasures. Chapter 942. Terrifying deployment spell, shut the hell up, Tian Shuzi. Have you forgotten about Lin Feng's social status? If you humiliate Tianxian again, don't blame B for being merciless, said the Snow Zone cultivator coldly. He wasn't hiding his cultivation level anymore, so Tian Shuzi was actually scared. The Snow Zone cultivator had gone to Shenggong and killed Zone cultivators. People in Tianqi had heard the news. They were surprised to learn that he was so strong, even if they were still not fully aware of it. Only Mr. Tianji knew exactly how strong Mr. Bai was. Don't think that I'm afraid of you, said Tian Shuzi. The Snow Zone cultivator was threatening him. I never said that you were, but if you continue to humiliate Tianxian, It means you're humiliating Tianqi, which would allow me to attack you, said the Snow Zune cultivator indifferently. Tianshuzi pulled a long face and said to the crowd, brothers, what are your opinions? Humph, humph. They all kept their eyes closed as if they hadn't seen him. He was furious, but they all liked Lin Feng. They were all practicing cultivation right now to protect Lin Feng. From now on, stop talking that way. We have to protect our disciples because we're all one family, said Mr. Tianji angrily. Then he closed his eyes again. Lin Feng bowed in front of the old man and said, Tianqi will be safe. Then, he continued towards the depths of Tianqi Lin Feng. Lin Feng. On the ground, people were shouting Lin Feng's name. Lin Feng saw Tang Yu and Jun Emoshi and the others. They had broken through to the Tianqi lair and Lin Feng was delighted to see that. We can have a drink later, said Lin Feng smiling. Then he continued running. We're waiting for the enemies and he's going to hide inside, said Tianshuzi. But what actually annoyed him was everybody ignoring him. Everybody's eyes remained closed. They were calmly practicing cultivation. A moment later, Lin Feng arrived at the top of Tianxian Mountain. Lin Feng made Chongqi come out of the tower. Yendi, I can only rely on you now, said Lin Feng seriously. You need me for a spell again? Damn you, you want me to be exhausted all the time, said Chongqi. Yendi, I helped you obtain the void fire, you have to help me. You're talking about that again as if you hadn't benefited from it, said Chongqi annoyed. Alright, I won't talk about that anymore. In the future I will help you even more, said Lin Feng. Chongqi looked at him and said, alright, give me more abstruse crystals. I need many of them to cast these spells, trust me. Don't worry about abstruse crystals, we have no choice, said Lin Feng as he gave his ring to Chongqi. Chongqi was surprised. How many abstruse crystals did Lin Feng have? He was quite rich for a cultivator of the Tianqi lair. Humph, you're lucky I am helping you. I will cast the spell and at the same time, I will make this place become a holy cultivation zone, said Chongqi proudly. Lin Feng felt relieved and grateful. Alright, hurry up, said Lin Feng. He was nervous. Don't worry, I'm here, said Chongqi in a despising way. Even though Chongqi was proud, he also did things properly. He quickly started hiding abstruse crystals and carving marks everywhere with extreme speed. Even though he only had the strength of the Tianqi lair, he could easily use the strength of the earth and sky. If he managed to become as strong as he used to be as an emperor, he would be able to cast gigantic deployment spells without having to draw marks bit by bit. Since he had broken through to the Tianqi lair, he was already much faster than before. He ran around Tianxian drawing marks furiously. Lin Feng was at the top of the mountain sensing the hidden energies. It was almost as if the abstruse crystals had become invisible. Alright, let's go somewhere else, said Chongqi. Lin Feng nodded and he brought Chongqi to the holy place of Tianqi, Tianji. At that moment, all the people from Tianqi had arrived at the entrance of Tianqi. After all, people were coming to fight them. Chongqi was doing things really fast. He was sowing abstruse crystals everywhere, and at the same time drawing mysterious marks. Tianji Mountain was filled with an explosive power. Next would be Tianquan and then the last one would be Tianshu. Those 7 mountains work great with the spell. Tianshu is not a bad place. It's too bad that you want them to fail, said Chongqi while drawing the marks into Tianshu. Lin Feng didn't reply. Tianshuzi hated him. He kept saying he wanted Lin Feng to be expelled and that Tianqi should have taken his treasures. If Tianqi had stolen Lin Feng's treasures, he would be doomed. How could Lin Feng allow Tianshuzi and Tianshu in general to benefit from the war? Are you done? Asked Lin Feng. Nope, there's still the last step and it's the most important, said Chongqi in a solemn and serious way. Hurry up, Emperor, said Lin Feng. Of course those markings aren't difficult. Just wait for a few minutes, said Chongqi proudly. Chongqi moved towards the center of the 7 mountains. Lin Feng didn't follow him. The last step was difficult, so Lin Feng didn't want to bother him. Chongqi took much time to finish. Lin Feng was extremely worried, but just as he was becoming overcome with worried, he sensed an incredible explosive energy. The marks were bound together and suddenly filled with power. You managed to finish, said Lin Feng smiling. Chongqi wasn't disappointed. At that moment, Tianqi's people who were at the periphery of the empire looked in that direction with amazement. What a strong qi, what is going on? The leaders were stupefied. What an incredible strength. What was going on? They had only seen Lin Feng come in. Was he the one who had done that? Chapter 943. Difficult times for Tianshuzi. Lin Feng's silhouette flickered as he arrived in the middle of the 7 snowy peaks. Chongqi was breathing heavily. He was exhausted. As Chongqi had said, such deployment spells were difficult to cast for a Tian-level beast. Are you alright? Asked Lin Feng. Deployment spells are simple, of course I'm alright. If I had the same cultivation level as I used to, I could cast it in a few seconds, said Chongqi proudly. Lin Feng was apparently worried for nothing. It'd be a wonder if something happened to Chongqi. Alright, I'm going to put you away then. No need to expose you, otherwise everybody will start guessing things, said Lin Feng. Chongqi nodded. Indeed, if someone knew that an ancient animal could cast deployment spells, they would guess he used the body capture technique, and it would draw strong cultivators' attentions. Lin Feng put Chongqi away and ran back to the entrance of Tianqi. Now that the deployment spell had been cast, attacking Tianqi would be difficult. The 7 leaders of Tianqi looked at Lin Feng. Little Lin Feng, what's going on? Asked the Snowzune cultivator. He also sensed the explosive qi which condensed in Tianqi. Teacher, said Lin Feng, nodding at the Snowzune cultivator. He then looked at everyone and said, Teachers, you can bring everyone back to the snowy peaks. Nothing will happen to Tianqi now. The crowd was surprised. The Snowzune cultivator's eyes twinkled as if he had understood something. He recalled the mysterious marks in Shuiyu and on the stage at the Great Sect meeting. He couldn't ask anything right now though. How insolent. If we go back to the snowy peaks, do you think you can defeat all those people alone? Don't forget that all those people are coming for you. If anything happens to Tianqi, you'll be the first one to blame, said Tianshuzi coldly. Lin Feng glanced at him with compassion. He smiled coldly. He would cry soon. Tianshuzi, if you want to remain here and protect Tianqi here, I don't mind, said Lin Feng with a nice smile. He then looked at the leaders and said, Teachers, I put some precious items everywhere in the mountains. Those items contain deployment spells. Nobody in their right mind would enter Tianqi now. You can all go back to your snowy peaks because Tianqi is protected. The crowd was curious. Lin Feng sounded so confident. It now made sense that qi was emerging from the mountains. All right, said Mr. Tianji, nodding. He stood up and said to the crowd, Go back to your snowy peaks. He then said to his own people, Tianji's people, follow me, we're going back to Tianji Mountain. He nodded at Lin Feng and left. The Snowzune cultivator stood up as well and said, Tianxian people, follow me too, we're going back to Tianxian. The leader of Tianquan also brought his people back to his snowy peak. Quickly, everybody disappeared except Tianshuzi. He was staring at Lin Feng with murder. If you don't want to leave, I can't force you, said Lin Feng indifferently. And then he also left for Tianxian. Tianshuzi pulled a long face and finally stood up. He also brought his people back to his snowy peak. Everybody went back to their snowy peaks and sensed the strong qi emanating from the mountains. When they sensed it, they were astonished to find that it was abstruse qi. How did Lin Feng do that? With that amount of abstruse qi, their snowy peaks had turned into holy cultivation places. Lin Feng, this is an incredible gift, said Mr. Tianji from very far away. His voice echoed everywhere in the mountains. The snowy peaks of Tianqi had turned into holy cultivation places. Lin Feng hadn't used any ordinary items to do that. Haha, indeed. Lin Feng, it will only be a few years until Tianqi becomes the leader of Ganyu, said another voice coming from another snowy peak. Now that Tianquan has turned into a holy cultivation place, I will only let people who truly believe in our philosophies practice cultivation here. That way we can avoid traitors, said a voice coming from Tianquan. Lin Feng is a real believer. He contributes to making Tianqi strong. We pledge to always protect Lin Feng for Tianqi. We're infinitely grateful, and we have no way to thank Lin Feng enough. In Tianxian, the Snowzune cultivator, The Fire Zune cultivator and the Sword Zune cultivator were next to Lin Feng and smiling in a radiant way. They were proud of their disciple. Alright, enough compliments. That abstruse chi contains an explosive energy. Lin Feng, tell us how you cast that spell, said Mr. Tianji. With their cultivation level, they sensed what the spell was capable of. Lin Feng hadn't lied to them. Inside of Ganyu, nobody could attack Tianqi anymore. Many people were breathing deeply in Tianqi. They were so happy. Everybody was happy. Tianshuzi's facial expression looked even worse. The disciples of Tianshu were not that happy either. From what everybody said, it seemed like Lin Feng had contributed to making all the snowy peaks turn into holy cultivation places, but apart from a strong deployment spell, there was nothing for them. It seemed like Lin Feng hadn't offered Tianshu the same benefits as the other snowy peaks. That was normal though. Everybody knew that Tianshu's people didn't like Lin Feng. Each time Tianshuzi talked about Lin Feng, it was to say that they should expel him and steal his treasures. How could he give anything precious to Tianshu? All the other snowy peaks had received something apart from them. Tianshu was going to become the weakest snowy peak of Tianqi now. Tianshuzi was speechless and furious. Lin Feng hadn't given him anything. Would he have to steal it from them then? Unfortunately not. Everybody liked Lin Feng and Tianqi. If he did anything to him, he would be considered a traitor. Lin Feng, what did you obtain in the mysterious world? Tianshuzi's eyes narrowed as he gazed into the distance. He looked greedy and envious. He knew that Lin Feng hadn't cast that spell. He could only manage something like that with an item. Oh! At that same moment in Ganyu, the 6 influential groups arrived in the Tianqi Empire, and they were running towards Tianqi. People in the valleys were concerned. Who were those strong cultivators? They were going to destroy Tianqi. The citizens of the Tianqi Empire looked desperate. They truly loved their empire. All they did was for their empire. Tianqi was their religion. Kill them. Many Tianqi citizens were running towards the city. Mieching attacked them and released abstruse energies. Those people on the ground raised their heads and turned deathly pale. They looked desperate. Boom boom boom. A terrifying energy crashed onto the ground and a crater appeared. All those people on the ground were killed. Mieching groaned coldly as if he had just killed some insects in his house. He was merciless. No need to be impatient, Mieching. Tianqi's people are in their city. You'll be able to kill them soon enough, and once you do, it will be a bloodbath, said King Dragon indifferently. They all had cruel smiles on their faces. Tianqi was doomed. Chapter 944. Looking for a scapegoat. It was snowing a lot in Tianqi. It looked calm and peaceful. At the entrance of Tianqi, there were many strong cultivators. They had murder in their eyes and they looked like hunters. They had finally arrived. They traveled all the way from Ahsoka to Tianqi. They looked impatient to destroy Tianqi. Besides, all the treasures of Tianqi would become theirs. After destroying Tianqi, they would kill Lin Feng. No matter where he was, they would find him. Have Tianqi's people turned into turtles, hiding in their shells? Said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect mockingly. You're funny. Maybe they just ran away because they were afraid, said King Dragon indifferently. The crowd laughed cruelly. Let's go. Let's destroy Tianqi, said Mieching impatiently. Shengong had been destroyed. Now he wanted to his revenge. The others glanced at each other and smiled indifferently. How come you didn't inform us that you were coming? Said a voice very far away. Everybody was surprised as they gazed into the distance. The voice came from the 7 highest snowy peaks. As expected, they gathered together in their 7 main snowy peaks. But it's useless, thought the crowd. The 7 snowy peaks were going to turn into a battlefield. Since you already knew we were coming, we didn't need to tell you anything, said King Dragon loudly, while looking at Mr. Tianji in the horizon. When you destroyed Shengong, you didn't think that someday Tianqi would be destroyed as well? Said Mieching with murder in his eyes. I think I should destroy Shengong once more, said Mr. Tianji calmly and indifferently. Duanmu looked at the people in the 7 snowy peaks. He was impatient to kill them. I admire you for remaining so calm on your judgment day. I think that when people know they're going to die and when they have time to think about it, It's easier for them to accept it. That's why they stayed. They're just waiting to be killed, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Tianqi, an influential group in Ganyu, is going to be completely annihilated today. It will remain an important date in our history, said the patriarch of the Necropolis sect. He then added, Lin Feng ruined the great sect meeting. Where is he hiding now? Indeed, where is Lin Feng? Many people were wondering where Lin Feng was. It would be better if he was there because then they wouldn't need to hunt him down. They wanted to destroy Tianqi mainly because of Lin Feng, or more precisely because Lin Feng probably had some incredible treasures. You all miss me that much, said a voice from the distance. They glanced around and saw a handsome young man in the sky above a snowy peak. Lin Feng. The crowd looked at him with a cruel smile. Lin Feng was in Tianqi wonderful. So many strong cultivators, Lin Feng would never be able to escape. Lin Feng, said a voice at that moment. It was Prince Tianlin. He then added coldly, Is that you? Prince Tianlin only knew the young man with a yellow face. Imperial cultivation disciple, said Lin Feng smiling mockingly. Don't look at me that way. I told you if I were at the same level as you, I would kill you like a pig. Calling you a genius is a humiliation and a disgrace to real geniuses. I really wonder how a piece of trash like you can act so proud. It's you, said Prince Tianlin while narrowing his eyes. Only Lin Feng would humiliate him like that. Empty words, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Old dog, you're still barking. That piece of trash needs your support. How miserable, said Lin Feng mockingly with a big smile. Shungong, the East Sea Dragon Palace, the Xiaoyao sect, the great and powerful groups of Ganyu. Haha, how ridiculous. You came to Shuiyu and you failed big time. Many of your strong cultivators died in then. And now you want to destroy Tianqi. Come then. I'm here and I'm waiting. Lin Feng said while pointing at those people. Today you pieces of trash and you old dogs are going to die. I'm going to slaughter you all. A ridiculous cultivator of the Tianqi lair was humiliating them, so of course they were furious. I didn't know you wanted to die so quickly. We'll just need a few seconds to kill you, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect mockingly. Old dog, you only know how to bark. I'm still here waiting. Come and kill me then, said Lin Feng provokingly. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect released a terrifying amount of qi and condensed it. He wanted to torture Lin Feng and kill him slowly. Those snowy peaks are weird, he's trying to provoke you. Can't you see it? Said Yu Xiao at that moment. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was surprised. Weird. Indeed, Lin Feng was provoking them. He released his godly awareness and inspected the 7 snowy peaks. Indeed, they had something strange. They had thought it'd be easy to destroy Tianqi with as many strong cultivators they brought. They hadn't thought the 7 snowy peaks would be filled with abstruse energies. The strong cultivators glanced at each other's. Destroying Tianqi wouldn't be so easy now. Lin Feng looked at Yu Xiao. Yu Xiao had tried to kill him. Luckily Ho Qinglin had intervened. Now Yu Xiao was ruining Lin Feng's plan. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect turned around and looked at the crowd. Who's going to capture Lin Feng? Was it a joke? Lin Feng was in the middle of the 7 snowy peaks now. Even though he was very far from all the snowy peaks for strong cultivators, it wasn't a great distance. Nobody wanted to take such risks alone. What? Don't forget our agreement. Since you stayed at the great sect meeting, it means you're all willing to help. You must obey orders, otherwise we'll kill you, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect coldly. Some people had regrets. Damn agreement. Who would agree to go and act as cannon fodder? Patriarch, there are 4 snowy peaks around Lin Feng in front of him and on his left. If we attack him head-on, we'll die. It's too difficult, said someone calmly. Many people started talking at the same time. Tianqi cherished Lin Feng, they wouldn't let him die that easily. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect groaned coldly and looked at Tianxian. Alright, we don't need to capture Lin Feng. Let's just go to the nearest peak then. You go first, alright? They all looked upset again, but what could they do? The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect would be furious if they didn't listen. Patriarch, please follow us closely. We have to attack together. Once we're done with the first peak, we'll have access to all the others. Don't worry, I will protect you, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect indifferently. He wanted to see if the abstruse energy in the snowy peaks was dangerous or not. Chapter 945. Stars of Destruction. The group of people obeyed the patriarch's orders and moved towards Tianxian with gloomy expressions on their faces. Now and then, they would turn around to see if everybody was following. Luckily, everybody listened to the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. They were moving together towards Tianxian. They knew that those snowy peaks were massive and would be difficult to destroy. Very quickly they arrived near Tianxian. They looked at the summit and saw many people cultivating at the top. Someone said, "It is Tianqi's final day. No need to resist." Tianxian's people looked at them but didn't say anything. They just smiled indifferently. Tianqi's final day? Very often people die because they are too greedy, and because they overestimate their own abilities. I'll give you one piece of advice: leave now. If you attack, you will all die, said the Snow Zune cultivator coldly. Many of those people were strong, but were they strong enough? They were just dreaming. They were greedy, so they had come to Tianqi with hopes of stealing treasures. We don't care about your advice. Tianqi is going to be destroyed one way or another, said someone furiously. They then started releasing a powerful qi. Very well, said the Snow Zune cultivator while rising up in the sky and releasing ice energies outside Tianxian. The atmosphere around Tianxian seemed to freeze. Since you want to attack Tianqi, don't blame me for being merciless. Tianqi freeze, said the Snow Zune cultivator. He released abstruse energies and froze the whole crowd. / a terrifying sword qi emerged. The Sword Zune cultivator was attacking as well. Die, said the Sword Zune cultivator with a sharp voice. An infinite number of sword lights appeared and cut through the ice statues. 2 Zune cultivators had attacked and the whole group had died. Those who were behind that group stopped moving. They only now realized how strong Tianqi was. They had incredible Zune cultivators, so Tian-level cultivators had no chance. Only the Zune cultivators who were with them could put up a fight. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was furious. He had sent people to Tianxian to see if it was dangerous, but he had failed. Those people had died before arriving. He had to send Zune cultivators to test waters, it seemed. We can't wait anymore. If we want to destroy Tianqi, we have to join hands and attack all together. First, let's get close and then let's attack at once. That snowy peak should be easy to conquer, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Everybody started moving together. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was also surrounded by several Zune cultivators of different levels. This time Tianxian wouldn't be able to withstand their assault. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect stopped about 1 kilometer away from Tianxian when he sensed the terrifying qi inside the mountain. A 100 people were on the patriarch's side. They also all released terrifying energies. I am convinced that we can destroy Tianqi, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Everybody released energies at the same time. It should work this time. Rise, shouted Lin Feng at that moment. A dazzling light beam emanated from Tianqi, and it contained abstruse energies. It appeared from all the snowy peaks, including Tianshu, but not including Tianxian. People frowned. What were they doing? What was happening? Abstruse energies had suddenly enveloped Tianqi there. At that moment, someone saw that the 6 light beams joined at one point, where Lin Feng was. The enemies couldn't see anymore as the lights had become too dazzling. / The crowd stared at the strength condensing into a dazzling star. What a terrifying strength. Was it a group spell cast by all the strong cultivators of Tianqi? Bzzz, the dazzling lights illuminated Tianxian. The Sword Zune cultivator jumped in the air, and his sword also illuminated the atmosphere. The snow peaks were all very far from each other, but at that moment they looked like they were connected. Back! Hurry up and move back, shouted people furiously. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was the first one to run away as he flew backwards using his Xiaoyao agility technique. Die! Shouted the Snow Zune cultivator furiously. The sword energy illuminated the whole atmosphere. There was no sword, only lights, razorblade-like lights. That sword contained the strength of the 7 snowy peaks. // Many people in the sky were unable to avoid the attack and died. The strong cultivators of 6 snowy peaks had joined hands and had lent their energies to the Swordsman cultivator. That was a terrifying attack. The enemies were astonished. They were fixedly staring at those lights taking their friends' lives. After that, the Snowzune cultivator continued attracting energies to Tianxian. The energies of the 7 peaks condensed. At the same time on Tianquan terrifying energies appeared. They were dazzling too and had turned into a star. This time Mr. Tianji used his sword which turned into 1,000 lights. The enemies looked terrified. / Those stars were destroying everything. King Dragon, Mieching and the others turned deathly pale. What kind of spells were they using? No! Many people were shouting. Their friends were dying and they were powerless. They couldn't do anything. Chapter 946. Tianshu Peak. Horrible shrieks were coming from the mountains. Many people had died but some were still alive. They were suffering and shouting with pain though. You want to destroy Tianqi but can you? Said a loud voice in the distance. They had all really thought that Tianqi was doomed. A moment later they had lost so many people. Tianqi could condense the strength of the 7 snowy peaks to attack. How terrifying. The Xiaoyao sect patriarch's heart was pounding. The deadly star had almost killed him. What can we do? What can we do? He thought. He was frantic. They had organized the great sect meeting in order to plan the attack, so that nothing unexpected would happen. This was definitely something unexpected. If you continue avoiding the attack, we will all die off. We need to attack the same target and at the same time. If we manage to destroy one peak, they won't be able to cast that group spell anymore. Said Yu Xiao to the crowd aggressively. If they dispersed and attacked, they had no chance. There were too many strong cultivators. If they attacked together, they had a chance to win. Together, they could destroy the peaks one by one. Stay together and we will have an easy time, said Yu Xiao. However, he looked at the 7 peaks with some apprehension. He hadn't thought that there were such strong cultivators in Ganyu. Easy. Lin Feng looked at Yu Xiao and said, You said easy? Well then come and try. Yu Xiao frowned and looked at Lin Feng with murder in his eyes. Excuse me, are you talking to me? You and Prince Tianlin are the same. You are only pieces of trash. You only bully people whose cultivation levels are lower than yours. I humiliated Tianlin and Ho Qinglin humiliated you. To me you are a piece of trash, just slightly stronger than Tianlin, said Lin Feng indifferently. Yu Xiao couldn't stand it. A crappy Tian-level cultivator was humiliating him. Lin Feng was the same as an insect to him. Don't look at me so arrogantly. Prince Tianlin looked at me in the same way and you personally saw what happened to him. If I were at the same cultivation level as you, you would be the same as Prince Tianlin, a piece of trash, an animal. Continued Lin Feng. If you're so strong, come and kill me. I'm waiting. Yu Xiao looked at him. Go and kill him? Lin Feng was in the middle of the deployment spell. He was lucky he hadn't been goaded in a moment before. I will slaughter you, said Yu Xiao coldly. Are Imperial cultivation disciples only capable of running their mouths? I'll definitely kill you sooner or later, said Lin Feng. Yu Xiao was becoming even more furious. He looked at the crowd and said, Gather together and listen to me. If you do, we'll manage to destroy Tianxian together. Yu Xiao wanted to destroy Tianxian even more. Hurry up. Everybody gather together, battle formation from top to bottom and from left to right. Shouted the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect furiously. Everybody mobilized quickly and now looked like an army. Die! On Tianxian's side, more deadly starlights appeared. Together, let's kill them, shouted someone furiously. / Sharp sounds spread in the air as a star appeared. There were whistling sounds and a strong wind accompanied it. The enemies looked at the star but didn't know what kind of attack it was and didn't know how to block it. A sharp sound pierced through their eardrums. Those who were directly facing the star turned deathly pale. After the light beam passed through the crowd, a crater appeared behind them. Those who took on the brunt of the attack were already dead. So many people are dying, thought the crowd. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect shouted furiously again. We weren't done condensing our energies. This time remember to attack at the same time and move further ahead. We'll manage to destroy that mountain together. After that, it'll be easy to destroy Tianqi. Boom boom boom. They kept moving forwards, but they were surrounded by terrifying energies. You want to die, said Lin Feng coldly. He then said, condense. The light beams condensed again. Abstruse energies were rolling in the sky as 7 stars appeared. People from other territories in the Tianqi Empire could also see those lights in the sky. Was their capital city being invaded? Seemed like there was a great war. The 7 stars fused together and penetrated into Tianxian. Tianxian started shining brightly and was emitting dazzling lights. Even the strongest cultivators were trembling in fear. The Snow Zune cultivator, the Sword Zune cultivator and the Fire Zune cultivator were all proudly standing at the top of Tianxian Peak, bathing in abstruse energies. They looked like incredible archmages standing above the world. Attack and kill them, shouted the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect furiously. Everybody attacked. Explosions sounded as well as thunderclaps. It seemed like the earth and sky were going to be destroyed. They were all attacking Tianxian together as the 3 Zune cultivators of Tianxian released abstruse energies. The sword was lacerating the universe, the fire was burning it, and the ice was freezing it. The fusion of their abstruse energies was deadly. Now many people were giving horrible shrieks. The sword had mowed down too many people. The ice had froze so many people to death, and the fire burnt the rest alive. Many people collapsed and died one after the other. At the same time, many others continued attacking Tianxian. The ground started shaking as Tianxian appeared to be breaking apart. However, a star appeared up above and its light enveloped Tianxian. It seemed like the 7 snowy peaks were connected by something unfathomable as a myriad of stars appeared and fused together. What a terrifying spell! After the stars fused together, the new dazzling star moved behind Tianshu. All of Tianshu's people were now concerned. Bastard Lin Feng was a bastard. Boom boom boom. Cracking and explosions sounded as Tianshu was now shaking. Everybody had started to panic as huge stones were exploding. Tianshu Zi was upset. Damn Lin Feng. Chapter 947. The tragedy. What kind of spell was Lin Feng using that made the power of the 7 snowy peaks condense like that? Apart from that, 6 of the 7 Tianqi snowy peaks were wrapped up in abstruse qi and had turned into holy cultivation places. Tianshu hadn't obtained the same treasures as the other peaks either. Oddly enough, each time the enemies attacked and no matter which peak they attacked, the energies were pushed towards Tianshu. It seemed that Tianshu was being used as a shield. Lin Feng had probably done that on purpose. He wanted to destroy Tianshu. Lin Feng, he couldn't hold it anymore. Lin Feng turned around, looked at Tianshu Zi and said indifferently, with that kind of spell, one peak must receive all the damage. 4 of the peaks are standing at the front, so I could only choose from the 3 peaks in the back. And as you, Tianshu Zi, want to defend Tianqi and its reputation with all your heart, and because you hate me, always wanting to expel me and steal my treasures, I thought that you wouldn't mind receiving the damages for everybody else. Your sacrifice shows how much you love Tianqi. Lin Feng was making fun of Tianshu Zi. Lin Feng was taking his revenge. Tianshu Zi was speechless and terribly annoyed as he glared at Lin Feng. Nobody said anything about what Lin Feng had just said. Apart from Tianshu, the other peaks kept releasing their energies and attacking the enemies. We're all fighting against the enemies anyways. We're protecting Tianqi, our empire. How come you're not fighting with us? It seems you still have time to chat? Added Lin Feng. Tianshu Zi was incredibly furious. His blood was boiling and he started releasing energies too. He would settle accounts with Lin Feng later. Lin Feng smiled indifferently and stopped looking in Tianshu's direction. He looked at the Snow Zune cultivator and the others and said, "Teachers, please take care of the leaders." "All right. That's what we wanted to do anyways," said the Snow Zune cultivator, nodding. He looked at the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. the organizer of the great sect meeting. He was also the one who had invited the godly Xiaoyao sect to destroy Tianqi. The first person he wanted to kill was the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. As if he had sensed something, the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect looked in Tianxian's direction and noticed the Snow Zune cultivator staring at him. At the same time, the Sword Zune cultivator and the Fire Zune cultivator looked at King Dragon and Duan Mu. They were getting ready to attack as well. Let's attack the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect together. No need to attack alone. Let's do this right, said the Snow Zune cultivator. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect and his friends were incredibly strong cultivators in Ganyu. They wouldn't be easy to kill. If they killed the leaders first, the remaining cultivators could all be killed with one strike. Alright. Chapter 948. Ho Qinglin's goal. The blood of the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was spinning and rolling. The strength of his blood was even emitting whistling sounds. He was a Zune cultivator, so his blood was turning into a blood spirit. At that moment he was trying to use his blood strength to reconstruct his arm. However, it didn't work. Even with blood strength, his injury was too serious. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect couldn't recover, so he shouted in frustrating. He had lost a forearm. Let's go, hurry! The crowd was terrified. They all wanted to leave Tianqi. It was too dangerous to stay and fight. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect had even lost a forearm. If they stayed there, they would surely die. The leaders were the fastest to run away. They went to the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Patriarch, let's leave and see what we can do in the future, said King Dragon. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was feeling cold and weak because of the injury. He was furious but couldn't do much. He hated Tianqi. They're leaving. People from Tianqi were relieved. Lin Feng's spell was really incredible. The enemies couldn't do anything against them now. The crowd looked at Lin Feng. Even though those people had attacked them because of Lin Feng had defended them honorably. Besides, Tianqi had just become the most powerful group in Ganyu. Nobody could challenge them anymore. However, Lin Feng looked at Yu Xiao and smiled coldly. You said that destroying Tianqi would be easy? Do you still want to try? You're satisfied, aren't you? Said Yu Xiao. Yu Xiao couldn't withstand another one of Tianqi's star attacks. I'm not satisfied. I want to see how you can act that arrogantly. It seems I overestimated you at the beginning. All you do is talk, but your words are empty. You're not using your ass to fart but your mouth. That's why your mouth is so stinky. I really admire you for not being ashamed, said Lin Feng indifferently. You don't need to stay here and show us how useless you are, so just piss off, said Lin Feng. You're telling me to piss off? Said Yu Xiao coldly. Lin Feng smiled coldly and waved. He didn't feel like wasting his breath on Yu Xiao. As if they had understood what Lin Feng meant, the leaders of the snowy peaks condensed their energies. If I ever see you again, I'll slaughter you, said Yu Xiao. Then he turned around and started leaving. When you leave, don't forget to say a few words concerning the fact that you're a genius, said Lin Feng mockingly. Yu Xiao was furious. People from the Tianqi Empire, very good, thought the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. He jumped forwards and released energies which surrounded those people. The crowd was afraid. Mister, we are ordinary citizens. You can't be mad at us because of your problems with Tianqi. Those people weren't strong cultivators. They were ordinary citizens. Chapter 949. See you in Bahuang. The Emperor Shi and the Emperor Yu in Bahuang will recruit their first batch of imperial cultivation disciples, said Ho Qinglin to Yu Xiao. Did Yu Xiao want to become one of their imperial cultivation disciples? The continent of the 9 clouds was huge. The holy city was the most famous city of all. Bahuang was a gigantic territory itself, with 8 provinces and 10 regions. Each region was gigantic, much larger than Ganyu. There were many sects there. Empires were rising together and competing for supremacy. Zhouyu was a mysterious and incredible territory. In Jiuyu, there were 12 empires, and those 12 empires were incredible. They were all high-level empires. Ba Huang also had many empires, including a few high-level empires, but they were far from being as strong as the empires in Jiuyu. Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu were two strong cultivators from the northern part of Ba Huang, who had risen a few hundred years before. They were best friends and they were monstrously strong. Because of this, they were very famous in Ba Huang. After all, two strong emperors being best friends, that was rare in the cultivation world. Besides, Emperor Yu and Emperor Shi were extremely famous for another reason. They weren't like many of the other emperors. Before becoming emperors, they had never been imperial cultivation disciples. They had just received the teachings of normal teachers. Now they were extremely famous and had followers like Ho Qinglin. The disciples invited by Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu were all incredible heroes. Many people admired them. However, Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu had never had imperial cultivation disciples. This time, Ho Qinglin had come to Ganyu to tell everyone that Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu were recruiting imperial cultivation disciples. They were recruiting their first batch. Those disciples couldn't be any ordinary imperial cultivation disciple. They would personally receive the teachings of the two emperors. In the history of Ba Huang, each time emperors recruited imperial cultivation disciples for the first time, incredible things happened. Many people wanted to become their imperial cultivation disciples. If they succeeded, their futures would be incredible. Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu are recruiting imperial cultivation disciples for the first time. Great wars will start up in Ba Huang, whispered Yu Xiao. This time, two incredible emperors were recruiting disciples. However, Yu Xiao didn't understand why the emperors had sent Ho Qinglin to Ganyu. Ba Huang was incredibly vast. There were many incredible cultivators there. Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu could find their disciples there. Why send Ho Qinglin to Ganyu? Were they looking for foreign geniuses? Maybe that they wanted to do something original. That was Yu Xiao's only explanation. Otherwise, he couldn't think of anything which would explain why they had sent Ho Qinglin to Ganyu. On top of that, he even caused troubles at the Great Sect meeting. Yu Xiao wasn't the only one who was surprised. Everybody was surprised, especially the younger people. Even though they didn't really understand what it meant to be an imperial cultivation disciple, when they saw how proud Prince Tianlin and the others were, they wished they could be the same. Imperial cultivation disciples were infinitely stronger than them. Prince Tianlin and the others could humiliate the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. On top of that, the name itself sounded glorious. Imperial cultivation disciples. The expression imperial cultivation disciple was making their hearts pound. They had already forgotten about Tianqi. They were lost in thought, daydreaming about becoming imperial cultivation disciples. If they could become imperial cultivation disciples, wouldn't it be fantastic? The last time an imperial cultivation disciples came to Ganyu, people had to be servile in front of them. Ho Qinglin had shouted so loud that all of Tianqi's people had heard him. The people of the 7 snowy peaks were speechless. 2 emperors were recruiting imperial cultivation disciples. It was so tempting. Such opportunities were extremely rare, especially for foreigners. The 3 Zun cultivators of Tianxian and Mr. Tianji all turned around and looked at Lin Feng. As soon as they heard Ho Qinglin, they thought about Lin Feng. Lin Feng was an incredible genius. He was much more gifted than Tianlin and the others. If Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu accepted applications from cultivators without a minimum cultivation level, Lin Feng definitely had a chance to be selected. Everybody was looking at Lin Feng with the same thoughts. He had always wanted to go abroad and become stronger. He had always dreamt of reaching the clouds. He just thought that he needed more time. One question please, does Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu impose a minimum cultivation level? Asked the Snow Zun cultivator. Only Tian level cultivators or above can apply, so Zun cultivators are welcome. There is no age limit either. Talent is the most important thing, replied Ho Qinglin. Many people were suddenly terribly excited. No age limit? They only had to have broken through to the Tianqi layer? Amazing! Of course, people have to be self-aware of their talents. If someone weak crosses the world, arrives and gets rejected immediately, that'd be a lot of wasted effort on their part, said Ho Qinglin, making many people come back to their senses. Indeed, there were many Tian-level cultivators, but becoming an imperial cultivation disciple wasn't easy. Even if there was no age limit, not everyone could apply. "Thank you," said the Snow Zune cultivator, nodding. He looked at Lin Feng again. Lin Feng sighed. He was nervous. With his talent, if Lin Feng stayed in Tianqi, Tianqi's future would be great. However, his teacher wanted him to leave for his own future. "All right, Yu Xiao, come with me," said Ho Qinglin indifferently. Yu Xiao remained silent and nodded. If he didn't follow Ho Qinglin, he would die. He had no choice but to obey. Ho Qinglin turned around and left. Yu Xiao looked at the crowd and said, "Good luck with everything." Then he turned around and followed Ho Qinglin. Many people gasped with admiration. Such strong cultivators were amazing. People had admired Yu Xiao since they had first seen him at the Great Sect meeting. Then Ho Qinglin appeared and they had all forgotten about Yu Xiao. Even Yu Xiao was scared of Ho Qinglin. "See you in Ba Huang," said Ho Qinglin before disappearing in the horizon. "See you in Ba Huang?" The crowd was astonished. What did he mean? Would everyone go to Ba Huang? Or was he only talking to one person? Besides, they were still wondering why Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu had were looking for people in Ganyu. It was the first time that something like that happened. They understood that Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu probably didn't want to miss some geniuses. However, Ho Qinglin had gone to Ahsoka first, and there were many strong cultivators there. Why hadn't he chosen someone there? Why had he come to Tianqi? And why had Ho Qinglin first told his purpose in Tianqi? They couldn't understand. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.